Music licensing reimagined.
Long time coming, like on the bottom of my feet from running. Cataracts under my eyes from hustling. Going from buying to selling to customers. Run up the business, God is my witness. Turn up the sun up from under the sun that we maxing our limits. My mind running like Tom Cruise on an action movie. Moving a mission, they say that I'm tripping. I've been told I need a vacation, I'm finessing a visit.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers, and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC Kansas City. We have Ian Machado Garry going against Carlos Praches, and we are back after a 1 week break. We had a big, long, like a 12 event stretch to kick off the year. Took a 1 week break, which was well needed. It needed a week to kind of recover from, the 12 weeks of content, and also the trip to Miami. And also got the norovirus once again. So the week off was very well needed. I know Wheezy definitely needed a week off as well. But yeah, we're back, Wheezy. Hopefully we can kind of shake off the rust quick here and get into some fights, because we have a pretty solid card to come back to here.
Yeah, man, Kansas City is going to have a live audience, and they did the live audience pretty good here. They got some really good prospects on this card. They got some good matchups. We got the debut of Malcolm Wellmaker on this card. It's going to be a really fun one. So it was really nice, man, after 11 straight weeks to get a week off. And I did myself a favor and I did no research for this card up until starting today. And it was nice. It was nice to get away from the UFC for a week after 11 straight weeks. I was really burnt out, but I finished watching Breaking Bad, Brady. Watched like the last 2 seasons of that. I never finished it after all these years. So I went back and I did that, spent some time with family for Easter, went to go see a concert on Thursday night, definitely pulled away from the UFC and had some fun and relaxed and recuperated. And now I'm ready for UFC Kansas City in this 4-week stretch that we have in front of us.
Yeah, we got some interesting cards coming up. We got Kansas City, UFC 315 coming. I think that's the Canada pay-per-view as well. So yeah, looking forward to it, to getting right back into it. Before we get into it, though, if you guys could do us a favor, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday at 10:15 p.m. Eastern time. And Wheezy, I'm happy to announce that we were on time today. We were on time. If anything, I think we were a couple minutes early. So it's nice to come in here after a week off and show up on time. It's not easy to do. So yeah, make sure you guys smash the like button for us. And yeah, I'm kind of upset with StreamYard. StreamYard's being a little weird today. First and foremost, they made me take a survey. They never do that, but they actually deleted like some comments in the chat. So some of you guys might have got your comments deleted if you replied before like 9 o'clock. So that sucks, but hopefully StreamYard gets it together and they get the help they need. They're charging us, what is it, $30 a month?
No, dude, they're charging us $45 a month.
What?
I know. Yeah, 45, dude. It used to be 20, or maybe it was 25, and then they jacked up the price almost 100% on our asses. And then they gave us that dog shit intro music. Remember that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I do.
It's like, this is how you treat us, So yeah, they're slapping us around, Brady. It's not a good thing, man. I'm not happy about it.
I think I threw up my arm. I think I might need to get Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
Some Tommy John.
Yeah. That's something I avoided that. I was lucky to avoid that after all the pitching I did as a kid, but boy,
those fastballs, they'll catch up to you. Yeah.
Oh God, man. It's the curveballs and the sliders that'll really catch up to you. Oh yeah. When you start torquing on that slider, man, that'll start putting your elbow completely out of whack. Yeah, it's definitely a very torquey pitch. You're really cranking on that elbow. Oh, and thank God I don't do that anymore. Now I just sit and crank on it. So it's my carpal tunnel, now that heats up from all the typing and stuff, Brady. I'm an old man.
Yeah, I'm cranking on something, but it's not a baseball.
Yes.
Oh God, we got Muhammad. What is up, Muhammad? First one in here that StreamYard's at least showing. He says, "Happy Easter, bro. Similar story here. 3 bets so far." We got Rem Dog. Happy Easter. Never I agree. Never late, especially tonight. Especially tonight. I can't believe Missouri is bringing back public executions again for the Anthony Smith fight. I can't believe they're sanctioning that. Why are they letting that guy in there? I mean, it's just not. It's not good. Apparently, it's his retirement fight. You couldn't have gave him somebody else, give him somebody else, man. Give him somebody else. We got Otterbomb. Super pumped. This show is one of the best pieces of entertainment of the week and beyond. And forward to appreciate you, Otterbomb. Where can I get some G Money? Yeah, we got G Money stepping in on short notice. Let the milking begin. Is Nikita Krylov a bum? He had a bum performance, that's for sure. But is he a bum? No, and hopefully he can stay more active after that 2-year layoff. Let's see. Never late. I agree with that. Evan Elder was gonna milk Ahmed. Yes, he was. Ahmed's getting milked right now, probably. Yeah. And by the way, I did do a poll about who needs help. We have 84 votes. Let's try to get it to like 125, 150 votes to see who needs the most help. The options are easy. Whoever let Darren Elkins fight, option number 1. Option number 2 is Cedricus Class Act Dumas. They actually changed his nickname to Class Act.
I like that.
He just nicknamed to Class Act. Chase the Dream Hooper. And then Ahmed Hazanzada for the 4th option. Make sure you guys get your votes in there so we can see who officially needs to get help. We got Iceland Farts made a live stream. There you go. Let's see. Late. No, we weren't. We weren't late at all. Show start shortly, guys. Brady's taking the zucchini bread out of the oven. I don't like zucchini or bread really. Love the main event. Ian Machado, Garry, Carlos Praches, absolutely. Dan Brady managed to always go to the best events. Yeah, I actually do. I do. I went to Miami, the Tampa card. I went to that Austin card a couple years ago that had like 20 finishes. It was crazy. I try to go to the best ones. What's up, Andy? Good to see you. Kalani, what is good? What is good? We got Justin Villejas in the building. We got our guy Mushroom in the building. Good to see you. Woozer. Who are we milking this week? Hopefully we milk the bookies, man. At DFS and Uncle Weezy, have you two actually ever met? No, not yet. Not yet.
Yeah, it's unbelievable after all these years, but we still haven't.
It's crazy. Hopefully in the near future. I picked Esty Dumas. I thought he went down without actually taking a shot. It looked rigged. What do you think? It was hard to see it like at the event, but apparently, like Michel didn't really land on him. He like hit his shoulder or something. People were saying, and then also Michel landed like 100 follow-up shots, which I thought was just hilarious. Like 100 follow-up shots on the ground. Brady, hopefully your wallet didn't get piped in Miami. It did. It was an expensive trip, dude. The drinks were like 20 some bucks a beer. 20 some bucks a beer. I had like 10 to 12 Coronas, and it ended up being like $250, something like that. Something crazy just for drinks. Just for drinks. Brady, there's rumors going around the community that you got kicked out of the VSM Miami because security caught you smoking cigarettes in the bathroom. Was I that effed up? Did I do that? No cigarettes. No cigarettes.
That was Prates. Smoking with cigarettes. You're like, get out of here, you bum.
We got Oluela. Is that how you pronounce Oluela?
I'm going to just say Andres.
Andres. By the way, Andres is probably one of the most hilarious commenters that I've ever seen. He posts some of the funniest comments. So shout out to Andres. Let's see. Paul, you said, Weezy, I went to Chicago this weekend and got some Pequods. Pequods. Pizza. Because of you. Fantastic. I also had some Portillo's. Yeah,
Portillo's. Those are a couple of Chicago institutions. Pequods, deep dish pizza. Portillo's, like burgers, dogs, Italian beef sandwiches, and fries. And there are a couple places that people love in this city for whatever it is that they make. It's always top notch, great stuff. It was cool that you were here this weekend, Paul. I hope you enjoyed our fine city.
There you go. Shout out to Paul. Is Brady a lefty? I'm a lefty. I am a lefty. Aren't you a lefty too, Weezy, or no?
No, my mom was a lefty, but no, I'm a righty.
Okay. I don't know why I thought that. My wife's a lefty too.
No kidding.
Okay. We got 4-ounce Sniper with the $4.99 saying, after a nice week off, it's time for the bookies to get piped on site. Hashtag pipe it up. Hashtag milk season. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nicolas saying, pumped to be catching live. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the weekend. I sure did. Hopefully you did as well. He's like, I don't think we're gonna pipe each other on site. Me and Weezy are pretty cool with each other. Actually, me and Weezy, I don't think I've ever gotten to an argument ever, and we've known each other for like 5 years. Isn't that crazy? I don't think we've gotten to one argument.
Yeah, I don't think we. Yeah, we're both pretty chill dudes behind the scenes. Like we've got tempers on us, but not related to how we're interacting with each other. Thankfully, we've been mad at the same fighters several times.
Yes, I don't think
there are some people where if me and Brady saw them, they would be getting piped on site. You know, whoever coaches Corey McKenna, on site piping. You know, like there's a few different things, dude. I mean, whoever was responsible for getting Ahmad Hassanzada, you know, familiar with the cultures of this country, really shit the bed, didn't they? That would be an on-site piping. Oh God, whoever told Nate Maness not to finish Jimmy Flick last time, on-site piping. There's quite a few, Brady.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Weezy on-site pipe. I'm worried about Colton G. you got to sleep with one eye open with Colton G. Colton G being around these parts.
Dude, there was a Colton G in my live stream on Friday, and he was totally cool. Was causing no problems, and it just said Colton G. And yeah, he caused no problems. There were no knife emojis. There were no threats. I don't know, but I mean, Colton's kind of a popular name these days, so you never know.
It can't be the. I mean, if there's no knives or emoji, I don't know if it could be the. Might be a fake Colton G going around.
It could be. It might be. That would be funny if a bunch of people started changing their name to Colton G.
We got Justin Cash with the $2 dono saying Verna's thick, and you're so right, dude. She's
making wallets thicker. Viana is cashing bets over and over and over again. 5 in a row now, Brady.
God, she looked so hot, dude. She looks so hot. Oh God, yeah. No, I was kind of spooked by that line movement. It's like the money was pouring in on Jan. I was like, what's going on? What's going on?
Dude. That's the best sign that you're gonna cash a bet is when the money starts coming in crazy on the other side. Because Steam is always wrong. Brady, check it out. How many units I got smoked on Steam? Bet 1 unit on Bryce Mitchell at plus 225, Steam down to plus 150. X. Bet Patricio Pitbull at plus 170. Got Steam down to plus 120. Another loss. Got the under 2.5, or the fight doesn't go to decision for Chase Hooper. The Chase Hooper fight, minus 175, closes at minus 250, 3.5 unit loss. And then the other one was Raposo, the under, opened around plus 195. I got it there. It closed at plus 120. Another loss. 4 losses where I had massive line movement in my favor that totaled 7 units in bets.
That's the CLV curse, dude. Every time.
Yep.
Every time. Every single time.
No bigger indication that you are going to get served, Brady.
Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Then when everybody else is on your side and everyone else agrees with you, it just like all of a sudden you're going to lose the bet no matter what.
Cavs are overrated. Come on. Oh, Joel, by the way, I didn't see you I might have saw you, dude. I went to the Miami Beach and there were a couple dudes in some Speedos. And I think one of them might have been my guy, Joel. I don't know what it is with Miami and Speedos, but they were waiting. I had to get out of there real quick. It might have been Joel, but I didn't stick around enough to find out. So, Joel, if that was you in that Speedo, I'm glad I got out of there just in time. All right. We got Dogfather, also a fellow Verna fan. May need some milk. I used it all on. Oh, God. All right.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, boy. Okay. So let's do a quick recap of 3 314. Ended up plus 1.1 units. Fights were fun. I enjoyed the fights. I enjoyed the Michel as well as Zachuk Estu Demas fight. Had Michel by knockout there. I did not enjoy the Arosa Elkins fight. I had Arosa inside the distance, but God, that fight was hard to watch. Like, and the reason I bet the Arosa inside the distance, the more I thought about it throughout the week, the more I thought that Elkins really shouldn't be fighting. And then there was a picture circulating, Wheezy, of Elkins with his teammates. And I kid you not, I was looking at the photo of Elkins with his teammates, and he was bleeding in the photo. It was a fight week photo. They were taking pictures and they're not even in fight gear, just taking a picture. Elkins was bleeding. I kid you not. And at that point, I'm like, Rose is gonna finish this dude. So yeah. Elkins, it's time to hang him up. The Verna fight was awesome, and it's not a good card you went to unless you got to black out before the co-main event. Kind of blacked out before the co-main event. We woke up at 10 o'clock and we went to this place called, what was it called? Breakfast Bitch? I think it's called like Breakfast Bitch.
Okay.
And you go there, basically their thing is they're like, what's up, bitch? How many you got for your table, bitch? And they're like, what do you want, bitch? And they're like, and then you say like, I want, the chicken and waffles, bitch. And they're like, okay, what kind of syrup, bitch? Like stuff like that. It was a fun time. And then I guess they bring you out free shots, and it was like 10 o'clock in the morning. People in Miami are wild. So we ended up drinking from like 10 o'clock in the morning all the way till like 1 o'clock in the morning. Ended up staying till like 7 o'clock. So it was just a full day of drinking. So I don't really remember the co-main event or the main event, unfortunately, but I remember pretty much everything. I remember Krylov getting piped on site by Dominic Reyes. Holy crap. I was not expecting that. I had I parlayed Mikel Olazechuk KO with Krylov KO at plus 1,000. Had the wrong guy by knockout. But overall, yeah, just needed a couple more things to go my way. I had the Hooper 2-3 props, weren't really even close. Had the main event fight doesn't go to decision, wasn't really even close. Had the Dan Ige finish only, that was solid. Although that stoppage was terrible, to be honest. But yeah, it was a fun night of fights. Enjoyed the card, and can't wait to go back to Miami. Although it's very, very expensive and very taxing on your health. Even going there in 2 days, it's very taxing. And I do want to bring up the. Have we ever heard any updates on Kennedy and Nzechukwu yet?
Jeez, man, I have not heard anything, but he pulled out of a fight with Martin Budai. So it was like when Johnny Parsons pulled out of that fight with Michael Gilmore. And think about it, dude. That was like 3 years ago. We've seen Johnny Parsons once since then. Like, it just goes to show you pull out of a free win in the UFC on fight week, you know that you are on death's doorstep. So I have not heard anything about Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Prayers going out to his family on this Easter Sunday, Brady. Hopefully they've gotten him out of whatever intensive care unit he's in or whatever life support he is clinging to right now.
I'm very worried about Kennedy and Nzechukwu. Have they arrested Tony Weeks for the
not yet? Nope.
Not yet. Okay.
Nope.
Not yet.
No, and let's just say it right now. They're not going to arrest him. Okay, if Saul D'Amato is still out there walking around free man, if Ron McCarthy is still out there a free man, Derek Clearly, if he's not breaking rocks in some hard labor camp right now, then let's face it, they're not going to arrest Tony Weeks either. And Kerry Hatley's probably going to be a free man for the rest of his life too. Let's just face it.
Yeah, you beat me to it. So yeah, okay. Weezy, we've been killing it with the segments, man. The parlay, the milking of the week, the on-site piping of the week. For UFC 314, we had the Stat Tickers parlay of Yair Rodriguez, check, and Mikel Olazechuk, check. 2 fairly easy wins, came through pretty good. And then we so these are wrong. So originally we had Yair Rodriguez to milk Patricio Pitbull dry, and we had Chase Hooper to pipe Jim Miller on site. And we actually switched those. We said Hooper was going to milk Miller, and Yair is going to pipe Patricio Pitbull. So although both these fighters won, I feel like they didn't perform well. Like if I'm picking a piping, I want the dude to go out there and like Mikel Olazechuk, that was a piping, right?
Yeah.
Dominic Reyes, that was a piping. Yair Rodriguez, was it a great win? Was it a clean win? Yes. Was it a piping? No. So we got to do better with the piping. And then as far as the milking, Chase Hooper to milk the 40-year-old Jim Miller, it wasn't a milking. I think a proper milking would have probably been, Julian Erosa to milk Darren Elkins. I think that was more of a milking for 314. So although they won, they didn't kind of win how we wanted to, but that's going to change this week because we have a lot of options. Weezy, do you want to do a really quick recap of UFC 314, and then we'll kind of get into it?
For sure, man. I had 4 great bets, Brady. I would say 4 great bets. Number 1, fight doesn't start round 2 for Reyes versus Krylov. Cash is easily at plus 200 for 1 unit. A 4-unit bet on the Dan Ige finish only, prop at minus 186. One of the most durable guys in the organization, ton of knockout power. That cashed for over 2 units. I had a 1-unit bet on Michael Oleksiejczuk to win by knockout, and I had a 1-unit or a 3-unit bet on the Virna Jandiroba money line at minus 145. Like I said, everything where I beat line movement, it lost. Pitbull money line, Mitchell money line. I also had a half unit on Pitbull by decision. I had 1 unit on Mitchell by decision. Under 2.5 rounds for Raposo Su Muderji does not cash. Fight doesn't go to decision for Hooper Miller does not cash. And my night came down to the last fight of the night. I had a 3-leg parlay, Brady. Oleksiejczuk to win. Fight doesn't start round 4 for the co-main event. Those both hit. All I needed was fight does not go the distance for the main event. And I would have been up 2 units if that hit. It was a plus 270 parlay for 1 unit, but it did not hit. So I lost 1.65 units, bringing my 5-week winning streak of over 26 units to a screeching halt. Damn it. If we could have just got a finish in that main event. And Brady, if Bryce Mitchell had won that fight by decision, I would have been up something like 30 units because I had to take this job and shove it parlay, and it was at 88-1. I had a 1/4 unit on it. So I would have won 22 units if that hit. And it was Oleksiejczuk to win by KO in round 1, check. The Reyes fight to end in round 1, check. So I hit the first 2 legs, and leg 3 was Bryce Mitchell to win by decision. So, I mean, like it would have been like a 9-unit swing if Bryce Mitchell had won by decision just in my track bets, but then it would have been like a 20-unit swing if he had won by decision for the take this job and shove it parlay. So it was very close. If Bryce would have found ways to get takedowns there and win some minutes on the ground, he could have won that fight, but obviously it didn't go down that way. Gene Silva looked phenomenal, caught him in a choke, finished him. So down 1.65 units, but a fun card, great bets, but then some really bad bets too, Brady. So, you're going to lose on weeks where you make that many bad bets, and I made a few.
Well, it's time to start. Let's start a new streak, right? We got four cards in a row. I'm going to close the poll here. So who needs to get some help? And so in first place, the person that needs to get the most help is whoever let Darren Elkins fight, whoever that may be, whether that's his coaches, whether that's, the commission, whether that's, maybe the matchmakers, all of them need to get help. In second place, it looks to be Ahmed Hazanzada, who got into some serious trouble over the weekend, got cut, and is now, I believe, in prison. And third place is Cedricus Class Act Dumas, another guy familiar with the prison system. Has been arrested, I believe, 12 times. He needs to get help. And then lastly is Chase Hooper with only 3%. So people don't think he needs help, which it was a good win, but I wanted to see more. All right, and then lastly, and then we'll get into it, guys. I do got to shout out the sponsor for the show, and that is our guy Avery. Go check out Avery. MMA_Very on X. He does weekly giveaways. He does parlays. He puts his best bets, his best takes on there. Go follow MMA_Very. Great guy. And yeah, appreciate you, Avery, for sponsoring the show, keeping Stat Diggers alive. All right. I say we get into it, Weez. We got a lot to talk about, a lot of fun fights. We got Matt Schnell making a return after retiring. We got Jimmy Flick, a guy that's retired like 5 times on the card. We got some fun fights to get into, so I say we get into it. And we're going to kick it off with Chelsea Chandler going against Joselyne Edwards. We got Chelsea Chandler, 34 years old, 5'8" with a 68-inch reach. Joselyne Edwards, 29 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. We got Joselyne Edwards, who's 5 years younger. We got the same height, and we got Edwards with a 2-inch reach advantage. Chelsea Chandler, 3-2 in her last 5 fights. She made her debut against Julio Stoliarenko. Looked like $1 million, man. She went out there, she beat Stoliarenko up, and she TKO'd her in the second, I think maybe first round, I forget, but she TKO'd her brutally in that fight. She lost the decision to Norma Dumont, looked awful in that fight. She beat Joselyne Nunez, and then she lost to Yana Santos in her last fight there. As far as Joselyne Edwards, she is 3-2 in her last 5 fights. A decision win against Jiyeon Kim, a decision win against Lucy Pudilova, a decision loss to Nora Cornhole, decision loss to Eileen Perez, and then a submission win against Tamara's Vidal. So, yeah, this is a fight that I will be completely avoiding here, but this is one of those fights where I think the books kind of got it. Oh, God. So Edwards was like minus 240, but now she's minus 300. I would not be laying minus.
What?
We almost died.
I'm sorry, minus 300?
Yeah. So I was gonna say, like, I think the books got it right, like minus 220. But minus 300, like you just can't lay minus 300. Although I like her to win, I would never pick Chelsea Chandler to ever win a UFC fight ever again. You can't lay minus 300 on somebody in Joselyne Edwards who's just going to split decision, a lot. She's going to split decision a lot of times, and a lot of her wins are, some questionable wins. She did have that loss to Cornhole though, where she clearly won. But yeah, I kind of think that this is going to be a competitive fight, but Edwards is just the much better fighter here. Chandler does have a path though. Like if Chandler's able to get takedowns, we've seen Edwards taken down a lot throughout her career, but I do think she's kind of patching up that hole in her game a little bit. For me, it's Edwards by decision, but the minus 300 money line, no thank you. And then Edwards by decision is going to be like what, minus 250, something stupid like that. The over is already minus 450, so this is a clear stay away. And I want nothing to do with this fight. And I feel bad for everybody that's going to this card and having to witness this fight. Weezy, what is your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, I mean, I think you broke it down pretty well because Joselyne Edwards is spending less than 50% of her UFC octagon time at distance striking range. And I think that's where she's easily going to win the minutes of this fight, is when it's in the center of the cage and they're kickboxing, because Chelsea's just terrible there. She's showing a negative 1.6 distance striking differential, pretty low accuracy at 36%, way below average distance striking defense at 48%. So somebody like Edwards, who has a positive 3.4 distance striking differential, is going to be throwing more volume. She's going to be a lot more accurate. She throws a lot more kicks, manages distance a lot better. But Joselyne's had problems stuffing the takedowns. And Chelsea's attempting only 1.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, but, she's spending just as much time in control time positions as Joselyne Edwards does. Joselyne Edwards, 48% of her time at distance striking range. For Chelsea Chandler, it's only 49% of their time. So both these ladies spend over 50% of their octagon time in the clinch or on the mat. And you see Chelsea Chandler winning 57% of those positions in her fights, while for Joselyne Edwards, it's only 35. So, man, I mean, if you're laying minus 300 on Joselyne Edwards and she's getting held up against the cage and she's getting taken down one time in every round, she's going to have a hard time looking minus 300 unless she keeps the fight standing. And guess what, Brady? That's something we just haven't seen from her. And when you look at those last 5 fights, you're going to see a win by split decision there over Lucy Pudilova. Lucy Pudilova out wrestled her.
Oh,
Right? So, yeah, man. I mean, like, if you want to be the type of person that puts bets on this fight, if you want to be that kind of person, Brady, maybe you take a shot on Chelsea Chandler here at plus what? Is it plus 240 or something?
250.
She could potentially get takedowns and win some minutes. She could win some minutes in the clinch here potentially. So let me look at the clinch and ground striking numbers here real quick. Yeah, positive 0.52 differential and a very good 2.88 clinch and ground strikes landed per minute for Chandler. And for Joselyne, it's a negative 0.74 differential and only 1.29 landed. So, yeah, Chelsea does a little bit better work in the clinch and on the mat, landing significant strikes. This could be a greasy, close fight, man. It's not like Joselyne's going out there and kicking people's asses unless their name is Tamires Vidal. So, who stinks. And the only notes that I have on her is one word, and it was why. Remember that? So, yeah, I mean, like, I think that this could wind up playing out close. Do I want to have money on it? I don't think I want to be put in a straitjacket by the orderlies at 1-800-GAMBLER and throw it in a padded room, but this would be dog or pass for me.
Yeah, this is my classic pass or pass. I just can't imagine betting on either of these fighters. I did bet on Chelsea Chandler against Nunez. I bet her to win inside the distance, and it was like a small bet. Even that is just disgusting. It's just disgusting.
Yeah. The best bet on this fight is that one of these hoes is going to miss weight. Most likely Chandler, because I don't think she's ever made 135 in her career. Even though she's fought there like 3 or 4 times, she's never weighed in at 136. And the last time, didn't she come in at 141?
Oh, I remember Edwards missed weight in her last fight too.
Yeah, I know. They both miss weight all the time. So it's kind of funny that this is a 135-pound weight because it's probably going to be a 140 catch weight by the time it's very close to fight time.
Jeez, yeah, she weighed in 141. I'm not the best at math, but that's quite a bit over the limit there. And then she missed weight against Joselyne Nunez too. And yeah, Edwards has missed weight before as well. She missed weight. Wow, Edwards missed weight more times. She missed weight against Tamires Vidal, weighing at 139. She missed weight against Lucy Pudilova, and then she missed weight against Jeon Kim.
Yeah. So this is 2 fatties going at it here. Neither one of them is going to make weight, but my God, I cannot imagine laying minus 300 on Joselyne Edwards. That just does not seem like a good idea.
No, she opened up minus 190, currently minus 300. And then as far as Chandler, open up like plus 165, currently plus 250. Like I said, the over is juiced to minus 450. And that makes sense. Chandler, although I don't think she's great, she's tough. She can hang in there. If she does get hurt, she'll kind of run away. She has the big cage, kind of maneuver around and run. So I think that's solid. Chandler's being overlooked, Stockton Power. Yeah, I think the reason she's being overlooked is because she's looked so bad. Like if we could see the Chandler that fought Stoliarenko, I thought she actually had some solid upside. She looked like a freaking killer against Stoliarenko, but hindsight, it's probably like more so as Stoliarenko is just very bad, probably. Chandler running away into the fence was one of the best moments in women's sports history. Yeah, I'd say so. It was up there, probably top 3. Yeah. Why would you bet on this fight? I won't be betting on it. We got Mohamed Sangadin on Jaws at minus 202, minus 225 expected the steam. There you go. You get to cash your CLV trophy, which hopefully it's not a curse for you, but
our guy Mohamed will be arbing out.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. He's a king of arbs, man.
I think they might both miss weight.
Yeah.
Now, if this was a fight of who had the best ass, I think Joselyne Edwards would be minus a 500.
Yeah, there's no question about that, man. Joselyne's got it going on in that area.
Yeah, you don't see an ass that big. Not in 2025.
No, it's good stuff. Joselyne, that's why she's sticking around. That's why they let her miss weight all that time. They're like, hey, girl, just keep looking that good in the cage.
Yeah, with an ass like that, it's not easy to make weight. Bet the house on Edwards. Don't do that, dude. Come on. Don't pass / don't even watch. Chandler is cute. She's not really my type,
Mine either.
but to each their own. To each their own. Let's see. What? Joe, some of these comments, Joe, I can't bring up. I can't bring up some of these comments. Why are you looking that up on? Why are you looking some of that stuff up? You're saying. Let's see. Make it a catch weight of 165. Why not? Why not? Then we don't have to worry about it. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next fight, and we have Timmy Cuamba going against Roberto Romero. We got Timmy Cuamba, 26 years old, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. Roberto Romero, 25 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Romero 1 year younger. Cuamba with a 1-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Timmy Cuamba is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Had a decision win on the Contender Series. Did not get signed that night, but did get a knockout win in his next fight. Made his debut against Balaji Oki in what was a split decision, and then lost a decision to Lucas Almeida. As far as Roberto Romero, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. He made his debut on very short notice against David Onama and lost that fight by decision. Yeah, for me, I think we have 3 pick'em fights on the card, and this is one of them. And to be honest, I'm just not high on either guy whatsoever. I think Cuamba probably won that Dana White's Contender Series fight, but it was very close. It wasn't an impressive performance. So he obviously didn't get signed, and now he's back. And I'm just not too impressed with him. He doesn't have a ton of power, doesn't throw a ton of volume. I think he's kind of solid everywhere, but I was kind of more impressed with Romero. Like, Romero is one of these guys that's just a dog. He's going to come forward the entire time. Very slick ground game. I don't think he has the best wrestling in the world, but if you can get it down to the ground, he typically stays on top of his opponents or finishes opponents. Very good ground and pound. And I was really impressed with his performance against David Onama. He went in there, and obviously a very tough matchup against David Onama, and he hurt Onama very badly in the first round. I thought he was about to finish him, and Onama was like minus 1,000 in that fight, but he showed off some good striking there. But you go back and watch his fights before that, it is a lot of, cage pushing, trying to get the fight down to the ground, and just like a lot of forward pressure. It doesn't really give you any room to breathe. And I kind of like that out of fighters. But in terms of, is he going to have a ton of success in the UFC? I don't think so. But could he beat Timmy Cuamba? I'm kind of leaning towards that. So yeah, it's a pick'em fight. I kind of lean towards Romero just probably doing more, but this kind of has split decision written all over it. I think Cuamba might even be like more skilled, but I think Romero just has a little bit more kind of dog in him. So I'm leaning Romero, but not too sure I want to get involved in this pick'em type fight. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Yeah, this is one I definitely need to look into a lot more, because I remember being like, Romero coming in and you make your short notice debut against Onama, who's hot right now. He has had some good wins, and it's a tough one. But then you look at the resume, and the resume is good, man. I mean, like, the guy's only been a pro for like 6 years, but he turned pro at the age of 18. And he's been fighting in Combate, which is one of the best, organizations on these continents that we're on, Brady, North and South America. They've got some really good names in that organization, and there are some really good fighters there. And Romero's a guy who's got 2 wins by submission, 3 by knockout, 3 by decision. He's been to decision in 6 of his 13 fights, so that the guy's well-rounded. He's got good conditioning. And like you said, he's pressuring forward. He's flashing some power. He's got a tricky ground game. He's one of these guys that at only 25 years of age looks like he was kind of like meant to do this, and that he could probably put together a decent, 500-ish record at this level with the skill set that he already has. And with a guy like Cuamba, it's kind of the same thing. A lot of people thought that Cuamba's performance against Vogel wasn't great. I thought it was an excellent performance because of how difficult, Mateo Vogel is as a stylistic matchup. He's a guy that gives you no room to breathe and will just stick to you. So the fact that he was able to stuff a bunch of takedowns there and land the bigger shots and get a win against a really tough opponent under the bright lights of Dana White's Contender Series. I thought he did pretty well there. Got a knockout against Stack, who's a good regional scene guy, and then fought pretty close with with Oki and Almeida. So I didn't, I think the guy is a pretty good fighter as well. So I think the line probably, before looking into it any further, it looks about where it should be. And I need to look more into the Romero side. I didn't get the chance. The last time he was such a late addition to the card, Brady, that I didn't even tape the fight. I didn't even look into it at all, because when did they add him? It was like a Wednesday or a Thursday even, I think.
Yeah. And there was no point of looking at, like, Onama was minus 1,000 there.
Exactly. Unless you were betting Romero to win the fight, what was the point of even looking into it? And I was already on to next week doing other stuff. So Romero is somebody that I'm admittedly ignorant on, other than what I saw last time out from him against Onama and what I've heard other people say. So I got to look into him more, but he's going to put on fun fights. That much I do know.
Yeah, no, I think this should be a fun fight. Romero currently minus 106, Cuamba currently minus 114, so about a pick 'em. The over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 minus 230. The under 2.5 is plus 190, which makes sense. Cuamba's a very tough guy. I was surprised to see he was able to survive against Lucas Almeida. Almeida dropped him a few times. Was able to kind of hang in there against a dangerous guy in Almeida. So I kind of think this fight does go the distance as well. Roberto clears. Joel saying the over 2.5. Yeah, I don't mind the over. Don't mind it, but it is, you are laying like minus 230 for it. Roberto's an absolute dog. Had Onama in trouble in the first. Yeah, the thing about his debut, it didn't look like it was his debut. It looked like he kind of belonged in there with a guy like Onama. He did slow down like round 2, but he took the fight on a couple days' notice, right? But yeah, round 1 he looked really good. Cuamba by decision is my pick. Cuamba looks good, and then he falls apart when facing adversity. I think there might be some adversity in this fight with the way that this Romero guy fights. Romero translated from Spanish is rosemary.
The herb or the name?
I don't know.
So there's a big difference between the two.
Yeah, there is. Absolutely. And then over in the Cuamba fight, Joselyne win. I want to Bill Basil
instead of rosemary, because rosemary is like he's going with basil as well. Yeah,
I said the herb.
Yeah,
there you go. There we go, John. Thank you for contributing to the Romero Cuamba fight. I think that's a great way to break it down. All right, let's move on to the next fight, and it is none other than Jaqueline Amorim going against Polyana Viana. We have Jaqueline Amorim, 29 years old, 5'3" with a 67.5-inch reach. Polyana Viana, 32 years old, 5'5" with a 67-inch reach. We got Amorim 3 years younger. It's Viana with a 2-inch height advantage and a 1-inch or a half-inch reach disadvantage. Amorim is 4-1 in her last 5 fights. She made her debut against Sam Hughes, lost that fight by decision. She knocked out poor Montserrat Ruiz in the 3rd round. She submitted poor Corey McKenna in the 1st round, and then submitted Vanessa Demopoulos her last fight out. As far as Polyana Viana, she is 2-3 in her last 5 fights. A decision or submission win against Mallory Martin, a decision loss against Tabitha Ricci, knockout win against Jin Yu Fry, submission loss against Yasmin Lucindu, and then a knockout loss to Jillian Robertson. So, yeah, I think I was talking to Dogfather earlier. I think Amorim's a very good-looking fighter. I actually put her number 2 for most beautiful fighters in the UFC. Number 1, you ask? Why even ask? It's Verna Jandiroba. Jandiroba is number 1, but number 2, it's Amorim. I'm a big fan of Amorim, and I think she's a good fighter as well. Although good-looking, a great fighter as well. Her debut, she came in there against Sam Hughes. Sam Hughes cheated very badly. Sam Hughes very, very badly cheated. She was very close to submitting Sam Hughes, and that was, I think, the first time Amorim was ever out of the 1st round. And she slowed down, but she showed her next fight against Montserrat Ruiz. She can go into round 2, round 3, and look good doing it. And she beat the brakes off of Ruiz and finished her in the 3rd round. Fight probably should have been stopped earlier, though. And then she submits Corey McKenna. That's a very good win. That's not easy to do at all. And then she submits Vanessa Demopoulos, which is not easy to do at all. I think Amorim is absolutely the real deal. If she can work on that cardio, continue to work on that cardio, that wrestling, mixing the striking a little bit, I think Amorim can be pretty solid. And now they're giving her Polyana Viana. And this reminds me a lot of the, what was it, a couple weeks ago? Molly McCann versus, who was that chick?
Tanara.
Who?
Alexia Tanara?
No. Oh, no, not McCann Tanara. What was it?
Oh, you're talking about Diana Belbita against Barbosa, right?
Yeah. Diana Belbita, the girl that was submitted by Molly McCann. Remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Almost had a stroke on stream versus Barbosa. It kind of reminds me of the same thing, right? Like Viana's ground game, although she's a black belt, it's like, there's been some very bad situations on the mat. Getting pounded out by Jillian Robertson's not the worst look in the world, but that Lucindo fight, went back and watched that. Like Lucindo got the arm triangle locked in. It was like over like a couple seconds after. She also got submitted by Veronica Hardy. That wasn't the best look either. See, I think her ground game is a little bit suspect, and although she's a black belt, but Amorim, I think she probably gets this fight down to the ground and finishes it very shortly after. Like Viana, she on the feet, she's actually decent, but she's a 38% takedown defense over a long sample. Like she can't stuff a takedown. Like if Amorim gets on top, the fight's going to be over. So I had this one circled, Weezy. I'm like, they made a mistake in the Barbosa fight, right? They opened up the under at big plus one. They opened up the under at plus 195. And I'm like, okay, all right. Let's see if they make a mistake again. Let's see if they open up the under in this fight at plus money. No, not at all. The under 2.5, Weezy, in a strawweight fight, mind you, minus 260 for an under 2.5 in a strawweight fight. It's like they're telling you, we don't want your money. We don't want you to bet on this fight because that is bad. Have you ever seen a strawweight under 2.5 at minus 260? Like that's approaching Liang Na territory.
Yeah, that is definitely Liang Na territory, and it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think it ends in the first round. So yeah, I mean, I agree with it. I just wanted them to make another mistake, but
yeah. They didn't. They had to have learned from that Barbosa fight. My God, I remember that stuck out, and I just didn't pull the trigger in time, and it moved so fast. But yeah, this is. We don't need to spend a lot of time talking about this fight, which is funny because we should. And if Polyana Viana was eliciting any confidence from the betting public whatsoever, from anything from her recent performances, this would be interesting because she's got 10 more professional fights. She's got 70 more minutes of cage time. She's got 6 more fights at the UFC level, and she's fought the better brand of competition up at the UFC level. Polyana Viana is actually a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion in her own right, and she's the better striker here.
She's what?
She's the better striker.
Before that the world champion, really, the world champion.
Oh yeah, dude. Polyana Viana is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion. Somebody in the chat check me if I'm wrong on that.
That's
but
crazy.
I'm pretty damn sure.
I think you're right, dude. I think you're right.
Yeah, I'm pretty damn sure that that was her base, and that that's why she has a 100% finish rate.
No, I remember that because I remember them talking about that in the Hardy fight, and then like seconds after she got submitted by Hardy, and I'm like, what?
Yeah.
What? Veronica
exactly.
Hardy?
So, but it's different. It's just a different sport. Like you don't have to have good takedown defense in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You're wearing a gi. There's no fence. There's a bunch of things that are different than what you do in mixed martial arts. And it just hasn't translated against top level competition for Polyana. So when this fight goes to the ground, you got to think that Amorim's just going to snatch up a submission, whether she's on the bottom or on the top. She's going to be aggressive going for it, and she's probably going to finish at this, probably Jaqueline Amorim first round submission. If you can find it at the same price that we found Oleg Sachek by KO in round 1 last week, then good, but I don't think it's going to be that cheap, unfortunately.
Dude, no. You want to know why? Everybody bet on Barbosa, the under, the inside the distance, the sub 1. Everybody. I would log on to Twitter. Barbosa inside the distance. Everybody was on it. Everybody was on it. So, I think it's gonna be bad. We're not gonna get a ton of value on it, but yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I see it going. Let's see here. Yeah, wait, did I just catch this? Yeah, you caught us live, man. You caught us live. Amorim is overrated in my opinion, but she's good enough to get this done. Maybe Viana can beat her like she beat didn't she beat that dude up? Try to Robert, was that her?
Yeah, I think it was.
Verna's got the type of looks that wow both sides of the come on, man. Really? Come on, dude. Amorim money line. Oh yeah, by the way, the money line. So she is the biggest favorite on the card. She opened up actually minus 250, and she's currently minus 650. And as far as Viana, she opened up plus 210. She's currently plus 475. So wouldn't be surprised if that got even wider, unfortunately. Got Forrest. Brady Uncle Weezy automatically put me in a great mood every single week. Best show of its kind. Appreciate you, Forrest. Thank you for hanging out each and every week. Michel Pereira fight week. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. She is a world champion, but she got subbed by Lucinda and Hardy. Yep. That is true. That is true. Uncle Weezy keeping it spicy. There you go.
Always.
There you go. Barbosa, easy. Yeah, it was an easy money. It was easy money. Amorim is a cheat. Yeah, Amorim did cheat in the Demopoulos fight, but to be fair, Sam Hughes cheated, and she had a loss from that. So she kind of it all evens out. It all evens out. Amorim did cheat, but maybe she needed one. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have another pick'em type fight. Really good fight here. Malcolm Wellmaker going against Cameron Saaiman. We have Wellmaker, 30 years old, 5'10", with a 71-inch reach. Cameron Saaiman is 24 years old, 5'8", with a 67-inch reach. Saaiman, 6 years younger. Wellmaker, 2-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. Wellmaker is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He had a knockout win on the Contender Series, nasty knockout win on the Contender Series in the first round against Adam Bromhold. As far as Cameron Saaiman, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. A knockout win against Stephen Kozlow, decision win against Mana Martinez, knockout win against Terrence Mitchell, and then a decision loss to Christian Rodriguez and a knockout loss to Peyton Talbot. So, yeah, went and watched the whole career of Malcolm Wellmaker, which hasn't really lasted. I think he made his pro debut not too long ago, like a couple of years ago. This guy's kind of still new in the game. He did have like a ton of amateur fights, but yeah, I was very impressed with Wellmaker. I went and watched his, I think it was either his MMA debut or the fight after, and I'm watching him, and it's like, this guy looks like he's been fighting for years. This guy looks like a veteran of the sport. It doesn't look like this is his first or second fight. Very impressed with him. He's patient. He's calculated. He hits very hard as well, and just was very impressed with him overall. The defense looks good. Just looks well-rounded. Doesn't look green at all. And he's rattled off 8 wins to start his pro career, including a nasty knockout win in the first round. Just knocked out Bromhold, kind of like a walk-off knockout there. Cameron Saimon's a guy that I do like, but I mean, kind of looking through his career, he's 3-2 in the UFC. His wins come against Stephen Kozlow, Obi-Wan Shinobi the Pillow. Stephen Kozlow, we haven't seen him fight. Saaiman beat him so bad, Weezy, that they either cut him or he retired because he hasn't fought in like 3 years. I'm not sure what's going on with Stephen Obi-Wan Shinobi the Pillow. I'm not sure. He beats Mana Martinez, who has been cut, and then he beats Terrence Mitchell, who was the second, probably the worst UFC signing ever, Weezy. Terrence Mitchell, the worst.
Definitely one of them, but there's, at this point, it's probably Ahmad Hassanzada.
Okay, we'll put Mitchell the second. So
yeah, it's like, Mitchell's up there. He's top 5, no question about it, dude.
So
Martin Stano, like there's some names, dude. There's some names. Like, wait, how did that happen?
There's been some
that guy that fought Eliza Zaleski dos Santos, Zach.
The dude that quit. I know you're.
Yeah, he just quit. Yeah. Like he got hit once, and he was like, "Nope, give me the show check." Yeah, but it's Terrence Mitchell, Alaska, terrible. Yeah, just bad. So yeah, and so he beats those guys, and then he loses to Rodriguez, which there's no shame in that, and there was obviously no shame of losing to Peyton Talbot. So I'm kind of like struggling to kind of know where Saaiman is at, right? Like he can beat some absolute bums like Terrence Mitchell,
But, he's losing to some very, very good fighters like Christian Rodriguez. So I think it's an interesting fight. It's a straight pick 'em. I feel like this is one of these fights that's going to completely divide the community. Like, I feel like a lot of people are going to be on Saaiman, the guy that's been in there. And then a lot of people are going to be on this newcomer, Wellmaker, that kind of looks like the goods. So it's an interesting fight, pick 'em type fight. What are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, so Saaiman, I remember thinking when he beat Josh Wang Kim on Dana White's Contender Series, I was like, because I remember Kim was a good prospect at the time, and he had some pretty good regional scene wins. It looked like they kind of brought him in to lose to that guy. He got the win, and then he goes out there and he rattles off 3 wins in a row at the UFC level over Kozlo and Mana Martinez. And a lot of people thought Mana Martinez was pretty good. Because he's got real power in his hands. And then he beats Terrence Mitchell. I mean, he was probably minus 1,000 there. Everybody knew that was going to happen. But, Christian Rodriguez, I believe, was an underdog to him. Wasn't he?
I think so, dude.
And Talbot obviously wasn't. But even Talbot, that was the cheapest line that you got Peyton Talbot at by a mile. And Talbot absolutely starched him. And we haven't seen him in over a year. Cameron Saaiman. So I'm kind of left where what you talked about, Brady, where it's like, how good is this kid really coming out of South Africa, right? Beating guys that we don't know. I mean, like those names, Kozlo, Martinez, and Mitchell as your UFC wins, that's scraping the bottom of the barrel right there. So those wins don't really mean much, but you're losing to studs like Christian Rodriguez, who misses weight against you, and then Peyton Talbot, obviously. Okay, so C-Rod was okay. All right, so he was a favorite, but still, I mean, this guy's right now a bigger underdog to Wellmaker than he was. No, it's actually a little bit closer, but either way, this is a guy that we don't really know what his level is. And Wellmaker is one of these guys that looks like he's the real deal. The regional scene strength of schedule does leave a lot to be desired. And he is 30 years old, going on 31 at the beginning of June. So he's not like this young prospect. He's brand new to MMA, less than 3 years of professional MMA experience for Malcolm Wellmaker. But he's 8-0. And like you said, Brady, the guy looks like he's the real deal. When you watch him, he reminds me of like Fatima Klein in a way, where when you watch Fatima fight on the regional scene, the striking looks good, really good, actually. The Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, is very high level, and you could tell that she's putting it all together. It's the same thing when you watch Wellmaker, but we still got to see him do it at this level. The Bramhall guy had a 13-2 record, so that was a really good win to go out there and clean that dude's clock in less than a half a round.
Clean as what?
What's that?
Clean as what? What did you say?
Clean as clock.
Okay, good. Okay, good.
Oh, Jesus. You thought, all right. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, clock.
Okay.
There's an L in there. Yes. So, this guy's a really good prospect, and it really looks like he's ready. But you always got to be careful with the Dana White's Contender Series guys. Sometimes they can disappoint, but usually the guys who show out on that show, when you just kind of say, oh, man, that was a great performance. Guys like Peyton Talbot, guys like Marco Tullio, guys like Prates when we saw him there, like Hoofy when we saw him there. Some of these guys, you see them go out there and you're like, whoa, this guy's ready now. And even though Malcolm's been fighting as a pro for less than 3 years and he only has 8 professional fights, it looks like this kid is ready. It looks like he's ready to win right now. And it looks like he could get a couple of wins like this and really kind of jump up that ladder if the skills in the UFC octagon matches what we've seen on the regional scene tape so far. So very excited about this fight. And I would much rather bet the Wellmaker side than the Saaiman side right now.
Yeah, it's a straight pick, a minus 110 each way. It looks like that on the majority of the books. The over-under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 180. The under 2.5 plus 150. I kind of have some interest in the under just with the way like Wellmaker hit. I mean, this guy has a ton of power. Dan was saying it in the chat. Let's see. He commentated Wellmaker's second amateur kickboxing fight. He was knocking dudes out with headgear and big gloves. Like the power that this guy lands, the accuracy. I wouldn't be shocked if he won this fight and knocked out Saaiman. So I kind of don't mind the under, but on the flip side, Saimon's more of a guy that, unless he's fighting Mitchell, he's more like a attritional finisher, maybe late finish type guy. But yeah, under 2.5 at plus 150, I don't hate.
I remember Brady before Topuria fought Volkanovski. I think they were talking about how he had been over there at ATT for a minute, and they I think Moicano was saying on his Show Me the Money podcast that, or maybe it was Gilbert Burns. I don't know where he was training, but they were saying that like Topuria was knocking dudes out with the big ass gloves and the headgear, and they were like, dude, you don't do that unless you just have that God-given power. And when Dan, I've heard Dan say that about Wellmaker. I know Dan knows him. He's interviewed him. He's commentated his fights before, and Dan is very high on Malcolm Wellmaker, and I think that. I think the rest of us will be too if he performs the way that Dan says he's going to perform on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Vora's saying, I love these UFC level 50-50 fights from a fan perspective, but hate them from a betting perspective. Yeah, I mean, it's always tough to kind of get on the right side of those 50-50 fights, right? It's tough. But if you have a strong lean, a strong take, those are probably the fights you like the most.
Those are the ones you want to bet when you have the strong lean.
Absolutely.
Yeah, when you're getting a 50-50 price.
Absolutely. Saaiman has no power, no danger. Yeah, more of like an attritional guy, unless he's fighting Terrence Mitchell. If anybody's fighting Terrence, I think Terrence Mitchell just actually got knocked out. There was a strong gust of wind in Alaska. So I think we need to get medical attention to Terrence Mitchell. I think that'd be good. This dude, Wellmaker, is working as a welder from like 7 to 5, then training 6 to 11 p.m. every day. I got Wellmaker. He's got that dog. And I went to his Instagram. Apparently this dude is a welder. Some welding. Full-time job. Yeah. Nice. I can't believe Weezy said that. This dude's unhinged. We gotta cut it out, man. I don't want to lose the monetization. So let's clean it up a little bit, right? Milk. Oh God. Jeez. All right. Finish only Wellmaker. Yeah, probably a chalky line, but I would tend to agree. All right, let's move on to the next fight. It is Damon Blackshear going against Alateng Heili. We got Damon Blackshear, 30 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Alateng Heili, he is 33 years old, 5'5" with a 66-inch reach. Blackshear, 3 years younger, 5-inch height advantage and a 6-inch reach advantage. Damon Blackshear is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Jose Johnson. Decision loss against Mario Bautista. Knockout loss to Montel Jackson. And then submission wins against Cody Stamann and Cody Gibson. As far as Alateng Heili, he is 3-1-1 draw in his last 5 fights. A draw against Gustavo Lopez. A knockout win against Kevin Kroom. Decision win against Chad and Helliger. A decision loss to Chris Gutierrez. And then a decision win against Clitson Rodriguez. So, Weezy, we have not seen Damon Blackshear in 29 days. Very quick turnaround, but he is no stranger to a quick turnaround. Remember when he fought Jose Johnson? The very next week, I believe, he went and fought Mario Bautista. I thought he arguably won that fight. So not too worried about the quick turnaround for Blackshear after that win against Cody Gibson. As far as Alateng Heili, we haven't seen him in about 10, 11 months since he's been in there.
Yeah.
And yeah, Damon Blackshear, pretty big. I think people are starting to catch on, Weezy, about how good Damon Blackshear really is. With that said, I don't know what was kind of going on in the first round against Gibson. He kind of took a little bit to wake up. But once he did wake up, we could see how good the ground game of Blackshear is. This guy's a high-level BJJ black belt, a ton of finishes on the mat. He's very dangerous, and I just have a feeling if he takes down Alateng Heili is going to be in a world of hurt. Alateng Heili absolutely needs to keep this fight standing where he'll have any chance whatsoever. But if this fight hits the ground, it's probably one-way traffic. So Damon Blackshear, another big favorite here, almost minus 400. And I think if he comes in here with the right game plan, and I think he could look minus 400. So Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to look minus 400 probably. Alateng's got some decent wrestling. He's got some power in his hands. He can win a little bit of minutes with his wrestling on the ground. But dude, I mean, like, he's 5 inches shorter. He's at a 6-inch reach disadvantage. If you want to talk athleticism and speed, it's not even close. Damon's even a little bit more experienced, I would say, against the better competition. You look at the regional scene competition that these two guys were fighting pre-UFC, it's all Blackshear in terms of strength of schedule. And even at this level, Alateng, he's facing guys that have combined records of 25 and 27 at this level. And for Blackshear, it's 39 and 25. He's in there against Batista, Montel Jackson, Cody Stamen. Those are some really good names in the bantamweight division, while Heili Alateng's beating, a flyweight in Clayton Rodriguez. Can't even finish them. Chad Enheliger, Kevin Kroom. These are not, I think he got a win over Dana Bakary. These are not great wins in this division. So Blackshear, definitely the more dangerous submission grappler. He's got an 11-0 record to the submission, while Heili Alateng has a 3-1 record to the submission. But the one interesting thing is that Blackshear is not the best minute winner historically. You look at these guys' records to the decision. Blackshear, 3 wins, 6 losses, and a draw. So he's only won 3 of his 10 fights that have went to decision. While for Alateng, it's 9 wins, 5 losses, and a draw. But admittedly against lower level competition than what Blackshear's been in there against. So I'm not really sure where Alateng's better than this guy. Where could you say one thing?
No.
Power, maybe. But even Alateng's been knocked out 3 times in his career.
I think Alateng might speak the better Chinese.
Oh, I think his Chinese is a lot better than Damon Blackshear's, I would say.
I think that's where he has him covered, but that's about it.
Yeah, and being short, he's way better at that.
Yeah. I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think, it's this should be Blackshear.
Yeah, I think it's Blackshear. Yeah, I think it's Blackshear, man. He opened up as a big favorite. Currently a big favorite, minus 390. Alateng Heili plus 325. The over-under set at 2.5 rounds. The over 2.5 minus 150. The under 2.5 plus 120. That kind of surprises me. And you brought it up. This guy Blackshear, he's not the best minute winner. This guy is not typically going out there and winning a lot of decisions. When he's winning fights, and especially if he's paying off a minus 400 price tag, you're thinking he probably gets the fight down to the ground and destroys this guy on the mat. So I think the under 2.5 at plus 120 kind of piques my interest a little bit. Like, let's take a look at Blackshear in the UFC. Like, this guy Blackshear, he finished Cody Gibson round 2, finished Cody Stamen round 1, finished Jose Johnson round 1, finished the Juan Lacerda round 2. Like, why is the under plus I get Alateng Heili, like, he's a tough guy, but the difference in the ground game should be massive here, no?
It could be. This guy is 11-0 to the sub. He is seriously dangerous on the mat. And what was kind of crazy was Blackshear didn't have to initiate any of the wrestling exchanges against Gibson. It was Gibson shooting on Blackshear. Gibson was actually winning the striking exchanges against him. You remember that? I was a little bit worried because I remember I had Blackshear in a parlay. I think I had him as the ass shaving of the week that week. And I'm like, dude. And it was Cody who shot and then got reversed both times. But once Blackshear gets into a dominant position, or he gets the better of you on the mat, it's usually not long until the fight's over. So yeah, which line is correct? Is Blackshear a minus 400 favorite against Heili Alateng, or is the under 2.5 rounds? Should it be plus 120?
Yeah, we'll have to see. I do remember Gustavo Lopez taking down Alateng Heili, taking the back and almost choking him out. I do remember that. So
God, you got a pretty good memory, because that was a long time ago, man. We haven't seen Gustavo Lopez in a minute.
It was like back in the COVID days, or a little bit after.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, let's see. Oh boy, no, Blackshear shaved the ass. Blackshear is a lock. Damon is the man. Yeah, I think this guy's good. He's paid his dues outside the UFC, and now he's doing very well. People forget that he took Salau to a draw. I think he took it on short notice too.
He did. Yeah. That was another short notice opportunity for him.
We got Bryce Mitchell in the chat. Good to see you in here, Bryce. Hopefully you can bounce back after your last performance. He's not going to be able to finish him. Alateng Ali is stronger than him. Yeah, Alateng Ali is strong. I'll give him that. He's a big, strong guy.
Yeah, he is. He's built like a fire hydrant. So, yeah, I could see it being maybe a decision.
Yeah. All right, let's keep moving on, guys. We have the next fight. It is a fight that we could just kind of pretty much skim over. I feel like we've broken down this fight like a million times. And the reason I feel that way is because it's been scheduled once, but we do like 50 shows a week, so we break down the same fight like 50 times. But yeah, they're finally rebooking this one. Chris Gutierrez, John Castaneda. We got Gutierrez, 33 years old, 5'9" with a 67-inch reach. John Castaneda, 33 years old, 5'6" with a 71-inch reach. Same age there. Gutierrez 3-inch height advantage with a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Gutierrez 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Frankie Edgar. Decision loss to Pedro Munoz. A decision win against Alateng Heili. Decision loss to Song Yedong. And then a decision win against Kwang Lei. As far as John Castaneda, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. A submission win against Miles Johns. Knockout win against knockout loss against Daniel Santos. Decision win against Moin Gaffarov. Decision win against Kung Ho Kong. And then a decision loss against Daniel Marcos. Just not a fight I have a ton of interest in. Whenever it got canceled, I was like, I don't really care for this fight. You know, Chris Gutierrez fights typically aren't that exciting, and it's a closely lined fight. Another pick'em type fight. It looks like Gutierrez has taken some steam over the past 24 hours or so, but probably a fight that I will be avoiding. And I don't know about you, like anytime a fight gets canceled and rebooked, I just don't really want to get involved with that fight. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just me, but I didn't really want to get involved in the first place, so I even more so don't want to get involved now. So this is a fight not too excited about, but Weezy, do you like anything in this one here?
I mean, Gutierrez is the better minute winner at distance striking range, and Castaneda is probably more likely to win minutes in the wrestling exchanges and grappling exchanges of this fight. But Castaneda really only spends about 20% of his UFC octagon time in control time positions. He's not a great takedown and control type of guy. I favor Castaneda's power. I favor Castaneda's grappling. Both of these guys are pretty experienced, but I think Gutierrez has got a little bit better. He's faced a little bit more experienced brand of competition at this level. But I mean, I think that my original pick was Castaneda by decision when this got booked. And then as it got really close to fight time, I was like, man, I think Gutierrez is probably going to win this fight. And then it got canceled. And now that I feel like this probably is Gutierrez by decision. He probably does keep it standing for the majority of the time. He probably does land the more damaging strikes at distance. But yeah, I think the line is fairly accurate where it is. And where do they have the over under at? Is it like minus 300 for the over? Oh my God, minus 350?
350.
That's, oh God. Yeah, so they're telling you that this thing's going to go to decision, over 75% of the time, probably. The judges are going to get involved.
Oh.
You're going to have to lay a little bit of juice to get Gutierrez here. Man, this feels like it's probably dog or pass where the money line is right now. But oh God, no. I am just not betting this fight.
Yeah, I think it's lined appropriately in terms of I think Gutierrez probably wins, but I think he's just going to make it a lot harder on himself. I think he's going to make it a lot closer than it needs to be. And it probably ends up being like a close split decision that goes into the hands of the crooked, blind, corrupt, terrible judges and to what they think. So yeah, not a fight I really want to get involved in one way or another. Let's see. We got Sammy catching it live. Good to see you. Over 2.5 lock in a parlay. Yeah, I think the over 2.5 hits, but you are laying a ton of juice for it for sure. Bryce Mitchell saying he'll be back in the cage next week. Stay tuned for fighting out.
Let's go.
Okay. All right.
Let's go.
Keep it active. I like it. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have Evan Elder versus Gage Young. Hasan Sada had to pull out due to being a sick individual. But in steps Gage Young, and I believe he's going to be the hometown guy here, Gage Young. So stepping in, making his debut here. We'll start with Evan Elder, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Gage Young, 24. Is he 24? 24? Yeah, 24.
That's what I've got. Yeah, he's 24, born in 2000.
24 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Gage Young, 4 years younger. We got Evan Elder, 1-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage. Evan Elder is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Preston Parsons on short notice, up a weight class. Lost that fight by decision, and then also lost my under because he almost, remember, that was the fight where he almost got submitted 7 times. I think Parsons had like 7 submission attempts officially, and he was able to fight out of all of them. I lost my under there. A knockout loss to Nazim Sadikov in a fight he was looking pretty good up until then. A decision win against General Valdez, and then a submission win against Darius Flowers. As far as Gage Young, he is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. A decision loss to Quinlan Salkilde on the Contender Series, and yeah, definitely held his own in there against Salkilde. Got taken down a couple times, got back up. Looked pretty decent, but Salkilde was the better fighter for sure. And Salkilde, I think, is going to do some good things in the UFC. So yeah, like I said, Young is coming in here on about a week or so short notice. And Evan Elder looks to be like minus 250, Gage Young plus 210. And by the way, I like that I don't have to make one of these banners that say, have they arrested Ahmed Hazansada yet? Because they did. They already did my job. I don't got to make a banner. So they arrested Hazansada. So shout out to them. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, dude, Hazansada is in jail on $400,000 bond.
Oh, God.
And, I originally read in the article, that it said that, he had sexually assaulted a 14-year-old. When I translated the article, it said that it was under 14. I mean, this is just sick stuff. And as horrible as that situation is for the people that were affected by it, Gage Young's getting a shot, man. He's a hometown kid. He's getting the Kansas City live audience to back him here on 1 week's notice against what I would consider to be a beatable opponent in Evan Elder. I mean, the guy's not a world beater. He's a solid 28-year-old prospect with pretty good grappling, good striking, good power on the feet. He was beating Sadikov before he got cut. And I don't even know if he got cut with a shot or with a headbutt there. So that might have been some really bad luck because Sadikov is still undefeated in the UFC. So the fact that he was able to go really close with him is really impressive. And when you look at the last 4 names, Flowers, Valdez, Sadikov, Parsons, much better than what you're seeing on the Gage Young side, who was fighting an FAC. That was like the old promotion that Krause was running to get his guys padded records. So FAC was where all those glory guys were fighting to get to be 7-0, and they would fight just cans in that promotion. So I don't know if Gage Young is ready for this level. The Quinlan Salkilde fight, what do you remember about that fight, Brady? Have you watched that one recently?
Yeah, Salkilde tried to take him down, I think it was 22 times.
Whoa.
Got him down 9 times, but every time Young popped right back up, which is good to see.
Yeah, I mean, because Salkilde's good, dude.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good prospect. So that was a tough fight in his UFC or in his Dana White Contender Series shot. But I don't even know who his best win is. That's the problem here. Who is Gage Young's best win? It's somebody that he beat in FAC. So I don't know if he's really ready for this level. Add the short notice, potential adrenaline dump, live crowd, a lot of pressure, short notice weight cut in addition to that, because he is a natural 55er. So he's going to have to make his cut without having any preparation. So there's a lot of variance in this fight with it being short notice and a debuting opponent here in Gage Young. And what adds to the variance, Brady, is what I remember about Gage Young is that this guy can shut off your lights with one shot. He has that natural power, 6-0 record to the KO. So yeah, I mean, this one is this one's let the buyer beware here, because I think you're gonna have to lay some juice on Elder and potentially Gage Young is a guy who can catch you early.
Yep, and Young is a Missouri guy, so if the fight goes to decision and it's any way competitive, or even not, maybe it's not competitive. If it goes to decision, those crooked judges, I don't know, they could give it to the hometown guy. We've seen crazier things happen. So I don't know if I love the -250 on Evan Elder, but yeah, he is -250, and we got Gage Young +210. The over/under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is -240. And the under 2.5 is +190 there. Joel's saying the Elder lock and a parlay. We got our guy Marcus Williams enjoying the show. What is up, Marcus? I saw Marcus had a big bet on our girl, Verna Jandaroba. That was one for the community. I think Verna did it not for Marcus, not for me, not for you, for the community. Shout out Verna Jandaroba. She got it done. 30-27 across the board. Hell yeah. Let's see. What else do we have here? We got sorry I'm late. I probably missed a bunch of pipings and milkings too. I'll go back and listen later. Yeah, I think we did talk about a couple of milkings and pipings, but yeah, good to see you there. All right. Let's keep moving on, Weezy, to the next fight. It is, oh boy, here it is. The people's main event, the return. I never thought I'd see this, but the return of Matt Danger Schnell taking on Jimmy the Brick Flick. And I think I'm bricked up talking about a fight like this. Two exciting fighters in the flyweight division. We got Matt Schnell, 35 years old, 5'8" with a 70-inch reach. Jimmy Flick, 34 years old, 5'7" with a 68-inch reach. Flick 1 year younger. Matt Schnell with a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Matt Schnell is he's 1-4 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Brandon Royval. Submission win against Suma Darji. Knockout loss to Mateus Nicolau. Knockout loss to Steve Urseg. And then a submission loss to Cody Durden. As far as Jimmy Flick, he is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Cody Durden. Knockout loss to Charles Johnson. Knockout loss to Alessandro Costa. Submission win against Malcolm Gordon. And then a decision loss to Nate Maness. Nate Maness, who unfortunately got cut because if you can't finish Jimmy Flick, you are out of there. Okay, I'm looking forward to this one. Matt Schnell coming back after a retirement. I was upset. After the Durden fight, he takes off his gloves and he says, I'm done. I just got submitted by Cody Durden. I'm done. I'm done fighting. And I was upset because Matt Schnell fights, win or lose, this guy always brings it. And when Matt Schnell fights, there's a good chance, somebody's going to end up on the ground unconscious in hilarious fashion, right? So I was upset when Matt Schnell retired, but he's back. He's back and he's taking on Jimmy Flick, a guy that's no stranger to retiring. I think Jimmy Flick's retired like 2 or 3 times. A couple times he's retired, but he's back as well. And they're putting two killer-be-killed fighters going at it here. Like, this fight is going to be freaking awesome. Like, Matt Schnell, we know what he's good at. He's a skilled mixed martial artist. He has a really good guillotine, really good triangle from bottom, really good strike and good boxing, but he has no chin. He has one of the worst chins in the UFC. And then you have Jimmy Flick, who has a very good ground game. If he can get it down to the ground, he's very skilled down there. Not the best wrestling, and then just absolutely no heart and a ton of quitting them. Both these guys have combined for 15 or 16 finished losses in the flyweight division. It's insane. So I kind of feel like it's awesome they're putting this fight together. And this is a fight that's at flyweight. We typically won't see a flyweight fight set at 1.5 rounds, but this is set at 1.5, and I think for a good reason. I do think it's funny though. I looked at the line, and it's just funny seeing Matt Schnell as a -270 favorite. Like, if you're laying -270 on Matt Schnell, I don't care who he's fighting. He could be fighting a gust of wind. How can you lay -270 on Matt Schnell? But at the same time, I kind of get it. Like, who's the better fighter? Matt Schnell by a mile. But this dude just retired. This dude has no chin. This dude's been submitted a couple times as well. I would caution anybody laying -270 on Matt Schnell. Holy crap. But what I kind of like here is some potential violence. They're onto it, but I think we get a violent fight. And I think Matt Schnell makes up for what Nate Maness did to me a couple months back.
Yeah, I'm never going to forget that one. I lost so many units betting violence in that fight. It was just horrible. But Do you know why Jimmy Flick's nickname is the Brick?
Why?
Okay. This is true. It's a true story. He said it on Dana White's Contender Series when he had his DWCS fight. He said that his nickname is the Brick because his MMA game is solid everywhere, like a brick, right? 15-0 to the submission, 0-6 to the KO, Brady. How is his game solid everywhere?
He said that?
Can you name me anybody? Name me one guy in the UFC, with worse striking than Jimmy Flick. Can we name, and that's for the chat too. Can you name one guy out of the roster of 400 men that are in this organization that is a worse striker?
You can't even say 40-year-old bantamweight Carlos Vera because he knocked that.
Yeah,
you can't even say him. So he's the worst, man.
He's got to be the worst. So he's such a bad striker. And then Schnell might be Jimmy Flick's first career KO win. I mean,
Yes.
Dude, there is he's been knocked out 5 times, but they're not even listing on that sheet, Brady. I can't even count Chris Tione dunking on him, knocking him out after he had already been knocked out, for him saying, no, go look at the thing. I don't know what was worse, him hitting you or your head hitting the ground. While Schnell has this vacant stare on his face because he has no idea what's happening, and he just got brutally knocked out for the 5th time in his career, and the most brutal knockout you'll ever see of a referee over a fighter that just lost is Chris Tione dunking on Matt Danger Schnell. It was an all-timer moment, and I have to imagine that, if you were to show Tione that clip and ask him, what were you thinking when you said that to Matt Schnell's face? You might find out that Chris Tione seems like a really nice guy in there, but it turns out he might be a real prick in real life, because only a real prick would say something like that, because he seems like such a nice guy. That was if somebody told me that clip existed and I had never seen it with my own eyes, I'd be like, dude, there's no fucking way that he would say that to somebody that just got knocked out in front of his cornermen. But he did. So how can you bet on Matt Schnell here? I know Jimmy Flick's a bad striker. Dude, Jimmy Flick's distance striking differential, Brady, it's negative 6.4 per minute.
Oh, is it really
Every
that bad?
minute.
How's that even possible? I've never seen anything like that.
Dude, I'm a numbers guy. I've never seen that. This guy's got 35 minutes in the cage, over a half hour of his life in there. And every minute he spends at distance striking range, he's getting landed on 9.6 times per minute and only landing 3.2. So, Flick can submit anybody, though. I mean, the guy's got 25 professional fights, and his record to the sub is 15-0. And even in his Dana White's Contender Series fight, we actually saw him go 3 rounds in that fight and out-wrestle a guy that was a wrestler in Nate Smith, I think it was. He subbed Cody Durden with a flying triangle. He subbed Malcolm Gordon and made him retire. Could this be the second guy? I mean, he lasted 15 minutes, and Nate Maness was forced to retire from the UFC for not finishing it. This is such a meme fight. It's really, I don't know if I'm going to have money on this, but Jimmy Flick by submission at anything better than plus 500 is probably worth a quarter unit shot, Brady. I mean, this guy could submit anybody.
If will Flick get credited with the knockout if Joe Martinez fist bump knocks out Schnell? Will he get credit?
No, they don't credit. They have to. There has to be a bell. I think what happens is Schnell gets the Vaseline put on between the first and second rounds, and that knocks him out. Okay. He's unable to get up off the chair, and we get a TKO stoppage, the first of Jimmy Flick's career, mind you. It could happen. what is the line on Flick by KO going to be, Brady? That would be the best bet you could ever hit.
It would be like the Jesus Aguilar KO when he.
Yeah, dude, the guy had never knocked anybody out.
Yeah.
In his career, and you could be like, I called it, dude. I called Jimmy Flick 25 fights, couldn't hit water if he fell out of a boat. You know, this guy couldn't knock out a female straw weight, and he went out and I bet him to win by KO, and it happened. Dude, you'd be telling your grandkids about that one, man. That would be the biggest baller bet. If you hit a Jimmy Flick by KO bet and it cashes, it's your week. Go out and play the lottery. Go out there and ask out that woman that you were just too intimidated by. I mean, like, it's all there for the taking. If you can put that kind of a bet out there in the universe and make it cash, Brady, this is the fight where it could happen.
Yeah. No, I mean, we'll see. Like the Flick KO might be like what, probably 16-1, something like that.
Dude, it might be more than that.
I mean, Matt Schnell might knock himself out. I mean, you never know.
Yeah.
You never know. But I struggle to see or how like anybody could you click on Matt Schnell at minus 270 and like put money on him. I can't. I struggle to see who's doing that. He was like minus 350 like not too long ago. A couple hours ago, he's minus 350. What's going on? I don't know.
Dude, you know, Brady, Matt Schnell has 50% takedown defense.
He can't.
Jimmy Flick is live to win this fight. I don't care what anybody, dude. He's live to beat any. If you could beat Cody Durden, you can beat Matt Schnell. Chris Tione ended him, Brady. I mean, like, how can you come back from that?
You can't.
Dude, what fight? Dude, think about it, man. This guy's lost 4 out of his last 5 fights, but that win, he was getting 9 shades of shit beaten out of him for the entire fight, and then he pulled a rabbit out of his ass. And that's the last vestiges of Matt Schnell's chin went in that Sue Maderji fight. He ate so many elbows to the face in that fight. I mean, like both of these guys, like if this fight goes to decision, it's going to be ridiculous.
If this fight goes to decision, I'll have like a stroke. It'd be bad. It'd be bad. Yeah. The over under set at 1.5. The over 1.5 minus 155. The under 1.5 is plus 125. I think they did a wise move setting this even the flyweight fight at 1.5. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Schnell gonna win inside the distance. Blow on the chin KO. Yeah, maybe he blows on the chin. We got Bryce Mitchell taking Schnell. Let's see. Paul Craig has better striking than what's his
I think Flick. Yeah. He definitely has better striking than Flick.
Malcolm Gordon retired. JP Bays cut, I believe. Yeah. Simon Oliveira is a better striker. Aljo's definitely a better striker. This one I can kind of give.
Yes, that could be it. Dogfather might have nailed it. Chrome Gracie might actually be worse.
Ryan Hall's a better. Remember when Ryan Hall outstruck Darren Elkins?
Dude, didn't he knock somebody down too? Didn't he drop somebody with a head kick?
I think he did. I
think he did, man. Like Ryan Hall actually had some decent kicks. Like he was such a smart fighter, you know, because he just wanted to grapple. So he just threw a bunch of kicks, didn't care if he get taken down, manage the distance, make these guys try to close the distance recklessly, and then get in on their hips. Yeah, Ryan Hall, smart fighter.
Yes. I think Matt Schnell was protesting the stoppage off KO. I hope he wasn't protesting.
Oh my God.
I hope
maybe
not.
That's why. You know, like that could make sense why Tione would say some shit like that.
Yeah.
That actually makes sense.
That would make sense. But hopefully he wasn't protesting that stoppage because that was bad. That was brutal. But maybe he was. Maybe he was. Torres Finney.
Oh, that's a good one too.
It's a good one.
Torres Finney's so muscular, I don't even think he knows how to properly throw a punch.
Have you ever seen a refrigerator throw a punch?
I have not, man. Like the door can open you, like if the door opens fast and you're not watching, it can crack you. But still, man, I think Finney might be worse than a refrigerator at striking.
We got Whistler 39 with the 199. Appreciate you, Whistler. Appreciate it. Jimmy Flake doesn't lose fights. He just runs out of time. Fair.
Except for the ones where he gets finished.
Fair. Oh, poor Shannon Ross.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Shannon Ross.
Prayers up.
Hall knocked down Elkins with a wheel kick. There you go.
That's right.
God, you got what?
Who is
one
this?
time we were actually on time and he's saying we were late.
Man, that guy's on hopped up on goofballs if he thinks we were late. There's no chance, man.
We weren't late. All right, so yeah, this fight's going to be. I'm surprised. Why isn't this fight the main event?
I don't know.
I guess they have it as the feature prelim, but not the main event.
They'll rematch these guys for UFC Vegas 200.
I hope so. It's a hell of a fight. But all right, before we move on to this main card, we have 473 of you guys watching. If you guys could pipe up the like button, milk the subscribe button. We go live every Sunday, 10:15 Eastern time, not a second late. And of course, this show is brought to you by our guy Avery, sponsoring the show. Give him a follow at MMA_very on X. Appreciate y'all hanging out. We're about to get into this main card, which should be a good one. All right, we have another fight that we talked about before. It is Ikram Aliskerov going against Andre Muniz. We got Ikram Aliskerov, 32 years old, 6 foot with a 76-inch reach. Muniz, 35 years old, 6'1" with a 78-inch reach. Aliskerov, 3 years younger. Muniz with a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Aliskerov, 4-1 in his last 5 fights, made his debut against poor Phil Haas. Won that fight by knockout. Knocked out Warley Alves. Next fight after that, and then lost by knockout to Robert Whitaker in the first round. As far as Andre Muniz, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Eric Anders. Decision win against Uriah Hall. Submission loss to Brendan Allen. Knockout loss to Paul Craig. And then a decision win against Jung Young Park. So yeah, rebooking here. I forget who pulled out. I'm guessing it was Muniz, but I'll have to double check that. We have Aliskerov. It looks like Aliskerov just passed up Jaqueline Amorim for the biggest favorite on the card, Weezy. We have Amorim minus 650, Aliskerov minus 655. So my prediction for the first fight was Aliskerov by scary first round knockout, and I think my prediction is going to stay the same this time around. Not much to say. Like Muniz, legit grappler if he can get it down to the ground. But every fight starts standing, and I think Aliskerov probably takes his head off early is kind of how I'm seeing it if this fight even happens. So Aliskerov, KO1, same pick as last time. I do want to double-check, though. It looks like the person that pulled out was Muniz due to passport issues. Oh, these guys were scheduled to fight February 1st, too? Jeez. So they're supposed to...
They've tried to make this one a couple of times, dude.
Oh. Okay, so visa passport issues the last time, and then the first time it was Muniz withdrew, whether that's an injury or a sickness. So hopefully this fight happens, and if it does, I think Muniz is in a world of hurt, and I wouldn't be shocked if Muniz was trying to not fight this guy because it's not really a great matchup for him, and it could end very poorly for a guy. And Muniz has been knocked out 6 times. So yeah, I think it's Aliskerov probably early.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Like, this line is just crazy to me, dude. I mean, if he beats Andre Muniz, I mean, it is so by far the best win of Aliskerov's career. It's not even funny. I mean, who that Aliskerov has beaten would Muniz not mop the floor with?
I think Haas could probably beat Muniz. Haas wouldn't have to worry about getting knocked out. I think it's a great matchup.
I mean, dude, even Muniz has knockouts on his record. Muniz was standing with Jun Yong Park just for some reason. He was standing with Brendan Allen. I mean, you look at the last 5, Nishan Burrell, Mario Sosa, Phil Hawes, who has no chin at all, Warley Alves, and then he loses immediately to Robert Whitaker. I mean, like, you don't hold that against him, but, you know, Muniz's last 5 fights are Eric Anders, Uriah Hall, Brendan Allen, Paul Craig, Jun Young Park. You know, I think there's a pretty good strength of schedule advantage here on the Muniz side for what he's faced here at the UFC level. And he's got, you know, world champion level Brazilian jiu-jitsu, where if Aliskerov makes a mistake on the ground, he could wind up in an arm bar and wind up getting his arm snapped in half. So, but I get it. I get why Aliskerov's a big favorite. You know, I could see minus 300, minus 350. He's knocking fools out in the first round. And Muniz has been knocked out in 5 of his 6 professional losses. He's getting ground and pound knocked out by Paul Craig. He's showing, he's showing a lack of heart. But, you know, Aliskerov has been finishing both of his losses. He does not have a good chin either. I'm telling you, man, Hamzat absolutely destroyed him. And Robert Whitaker did as well. And, like, those were brutal, brutal knockouts. So Aliskerov, you know, Aliskerov has had so many fights canceled since he's been in the UFC. 6 different cancellations over the last year and a half. So I'd like to see him be a little bit more active. And, you know, a lot of these names that he's been matched up against are some of the top names in the division. And now he's getting a little bit of a step down here because he was supposed to be out there against, you know, Muniz, Fluffy, Imavov, Paulo Costa. These were all names that he was supposed to fight, but all those fights were canceled. So not necessarily his fault all the time either. But yeah, I mean, like, Aliskerov is a Dagestani wrestler. He's a Sambo world champion. He's got real power in his hands, and he's got a really good grappling game as well. I mean, he's one of these guys that you're paying that Dagestani tax, and he's a very good prospect. So he should win this fight. But Andre Muniz, you know, you make one mistake against that dude on the ground, and you're going to be in big trouble.
Yep. Very good ground game, that Muniz. Let's see. There it is. Yeah, so Aliskerov currently minus 655, biggest favorite on the card. Muniz plus 480. The over-under set at 1.5 rounds. The over 1.5 minus 125. The under 1.5 is minus 105. I don't mind the under. Both guys pretty front-loaded finishers. So yeah, I don't mind the under at about a pick 'em there. Daniel's leaning Ikram. I'm leaning Ikram as well. He dumped 3,600 on Aliskerov when he opened minus 300, shot the price down and got rebooked, and now it opens minus 600. Yeah, geez. Yeah. Guys, you were 7 days and 2 minutes late. There was no show last week. No show last week. Muniz pulled out on steroid issues. I don't think so.
Could be.
Pulled out due to a future concussion. I could see that. Potential Muniz retirement fight. Pulled out to a potential piping. Oh, gosh. Muniz getting piped. Gonna get his pipe milked. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Yikes. But, yeah. So
people like Aliskerov this week. Okay, we got it.
A lot more than I thought. I like him. I don't like him that much. But to each their own. Let's move on to the next fight. That we got Randy Brown going against Nicolas Dalby. We got Randy Brown, 34 years old, 6'3" with a 78-inch reach. Nicolas Dalby, 40 years old, 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. Brown, 6 years younger, 4-inch height advantage and a 4-inch reach advantage. Randy Brown is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Jack Della Maddalena, a decision win against Wellington Turman, a knockout win against Muslim Salikov, decision win against Elizu Zaleski dos Santos, and then a decision loss against Brian Battle. As far as Nicolas Dalby, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Claudio Silva, decision win against Warley Alves, decision win against Muslim Salikov, a knockout win against Gabriel Bonfim, and then a decision loss against Renat Fakhretdinov. It looks like we have Randy Brown minus 230, Nicolas Dalby plus 195. It's kind of crazy what Dalby's doing at like 40 years old, doing pretty well. Even like in the Fakhretdinov fight, definitely held his own in there. So it seems like he still has a little bit left in the tank. He's going to be going against a much bigger, much younger, longer guy in Randy Brown. kind of think it's Brown by decision, but kind of think this could play out a little bit closer than the line does indicate. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
So where's the money line right now?
230 for Randy Brown.
Yeah, and the over 2.5 rounds sitting at minus 300 still.
285.
285. So there's telling you, that this thing is going to go to decision over 70% of the time. Over 7 out of 10 times, these crooked, corrupt judges are going to get involved. I don't like this fight for Randy Brown. I don't like. Nicolas Dalby is a tough matchup for anybody. He's got a very unique style with the way that he fights. Constant pressure, constant output, and a lot of clinching. And we just saw Randy Brown look like absolute dog shit in the clinch against Brian Battle. Now, I know the Battle came in 5 pounds heavy and cheated for that fight.
Yeah.
But still, Dalby's constantly clinching with dudes, and he doesn't really give you space. And Randy Brown's somebody who needs space. So I think that this is going to be a grimy, greasy, dirty fight. And Randy Brown is not a guy that I don't trust his durability, Brady. He's got those neuro ass legs. He's skinny as fuck. Couldn't get off the cage once against Brian Battle. Look, that's a really bad look. And Nicolas Dalby's just not going to stand in front of this guy. He's going to be pressuring him. He's going to be landing kicks. He's going to be making Randy Brown back up. And I just think that this is going to, I think this one goes to decision. And I think it's going to be a greasy, grimy fight. And I think it's going to look a lot like Battle versus Brown. And I think it's going to be a coin flip when it comes to the judges. So I'm going to be looking at a Dalby plus 3.5 points handicap here. Dalby's never been finished as a professional. He's been to decision 18 times in his career, and he's 12-5-1 in decisions. So he's got a pretty good record to the decision. Randy Brown does as well. He's 7-2 to the decision, but I don't like if I need to see somebody that is strong in the clinch if I'm going to take him to beat a guy like Nick Dalby, and Brown just did not show that against Brian Battle.
Well, maybe Dalby comes in 5 pounds overweight. That'd be smart.
Yeah, that would help, but that's the problem. Dalby doesn't really do that.
No, he's not a cheater like Brian Battle.
Yeah, he's not. Brian came in way heavy, and Brian's had some rough weight cuts at 170. He's having a hard time making 170. Which
makes sense. And then, I think I bet on Brown by decision, and that I was pissed off, dude, because Brian Battle cheated. So that kind of upset me a little bit. But yeah, I agree in a sense. I think it's a wide line, but I still think Brown probably gets it done. Better striker, long rangier. Big cage definitely helps Brown. But yeah, Dalby, like you said, could make it greasy, could make it dirty, gonna pressure. Brown doesn't seem to do well with pressure or against the cage. So I could see some paths. I like that plus 3.5 call there. But yeah, over 2.5 minus 285. So this fight is going to go to decision more often than not. And it's going to come into the hands of the crooked, corrupt judges. I got Randy Brown, but it won't be easy. You dig? Joel saying Brown is a lock. Joel, you have 5 locks, man. 5 locks.
Parlay them.
Aliskerov to milk Muniz. Potential milking. He thinks the minus 700 will win. Shocked. I'm shocked too, man. Brown KO under 2.5. Muhammad got a little bit on Brown minus 200. Boosted it to minus 185. Brown going to win rounds 1 and 2. Dalby takes round 3. I could see something like that happening.
Yeah.
Imagine Dalby doing anything against Brown. Dalby by split. Yeah, Dalby's greased out a split. Remember the Daniel Rodriguez fight that he clearly lost? I thought he lost 30-27, and they gave the win to Dalby.
Yeah. I also had a unit on Randy Brown to win by decision last time at plus 500, and I had a unit on his money line at plus 170, dude. It was something like like an 8.7 unit swing if he would have won that split decision. It was a close fight too.
So close. I actually thought you could have gave it to Brown just based off of the damage, and you're not really supposed to score the hugging, but yeah, if you could have had just a little bit more urgency, Brown could have easily beat Battle that night. But yeah, we'll see. All right, let's move on to the next fight. A couple more left. We have Michel Pereira going against Abus Magomedov. We got Michel Pereira, 31 years old, 6'1", with a 73-inch reach. Abus Magomedov, 34 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach. We got Pereira, 3 years younger. Abus with a 1-inch height advantage and a 5-inch reach advantage. Michel Pereira, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Santiago Ponzinibbio. Knockout win against Andre Petrosky. Submission win against Mikhail Olazechuk. Submission win against Ihor Peteria. Then a knockout loss to Anthony Hernandez. As far as Abus, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Dustin Stoltzfus. Won that fight by first-round knockout. Lost to Sean Strickland by second-round knockout. Lost to Kyle Bahayo by decision. And then beat Warley Alves by decision. And then beat Bruno Ferreira by submission in the 3rd round. Yeah, I think this is probably one of the better fights on the card. We have Abus, who's kind of front-loaded, although he did get a 3rd-round finish in his last fight. I had a bet on Abus Magomedov against Bruno Ferreira, and I was terrified, dude. In the 1st round, he looked like $1 million. You know, the fight wasn't even close. Easily wins the 1st round. The 2nd round, this guy's mouth's wide open. He looks exhausted. At the beginning of the 2nd round, Ferreira's teeing off on him. Ferreira's hurting him. Hurting with everything that lands, and Magomedov was able to survive that 2nd round. And then the 3rd round hits, and looks like Magomedov catches the 2nd win. Ferreira, that was the first time Ferreira's ever been in the 3rd round, and Magomedov showed some heart, which we don't typically see. Was able to get a 3rd round submission, cashed my bet, but boy, was it very sweaty. Michel Pereira coming off of a brutal loss, but it's against Anthony Hernandez, who... Could you imagine what Anthony Hernandez would do to a gas bag like Abus Magomedov? Could you imagine what Fluffy would do to that'd be hilarious to watch. So no shame in that. Prior to that, Pereira had like an 8-fight win streak. So it's gonna be interesting to see if he can get back in the win column here. And yeah, Abus is probably going to be looking to take the fight down to the ground, especially after seeing Fluffy take down Pereira, 10 times. But, the difference between Abus and Fluffy, well, there's a lot of differences. I'm just not sure that Magomedov will be able to take him down, hold him down, has the cardio to do so. But, I guess the path is potentially there. On the feet, both guys have really solid striking, but I do worry about the cardio, the durability of Magomedov. Pereira, not the best cardio in his own right, but the better cardio for sure. But the much, much, much better durability. 45 fights. The dude's only been knocked out, I think, once or twice. And that Fluffy fight, he lasted like the 5th round. So I don't know. It's a very intriguing fight. I'm not too sure which way to lean here. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
One of my favorite fights on the card, without question. I love the matchmaking here, and both guys have got big paths to victory. Because Pereira is somebody that's looked phenomenal at 185. And yeah, sure, he got rinsed last time out, but that opponent that he was out there against is somebody that people just, frankly, they don't want to fight Anthony Hernandez. And Abus is not the same type of fighter, but he can do the same types of things. Abus can take you down and control you. He's got that capability. He's also got very good striking and a lot of power on the feet. This guy's got 14 wins by knockout, 7 wins by submission, 6 wins by decision as well. So Abus is normally the more experienced fighter, but not in this case. Pereira's got 45 professional fights, and he's got 7 more fights at the UFC level compared to Magomedov. While this is on the feet, I do favor Michel because of that explosiveness, because of that power. And when Pereira does connect, he's got phenomenal finishing instincts. So I think that both of these guys could potentially get finishes here. But I think Magomedov has the skill set in order to take advantage of Pereira's ground game here. Because Magomedov is a very dependable wrestler when he goes to it, I think he'll be able to get some takedowns here. But the question is, can he avoid getting caught? Because Pereira has really good lateral movement and such explosive power and athleticism. I really do think that Pereira probably is going to win this fight. I think that I still don't know if Abus is like a reliable minute winner at this level. He did it against Warley Alves, but I don't care about that. I think Michel Pereira would absolutely destroy Warley Alves, So the fact that he was able to do it against Ferreira, I think, is very impressive. We just saw Ferreira look really good in his last fight. getting a finish against Petrosian, right? So this is a great one, man. I can't wait to research this one a little bit further. But while it's on the feet, I favor the power and explosiveness of Pereira. And I think that Abus should be able to win some minutes on the ground here if he does go to the wrestling early and often. But I worry about his ability to be able to do that for 3 rounds. And I also think that Pereira is so explosive that if he shoots sloppily from way out, he could walk onto a knee, an uppercut, anything. And then, once Pereira lands, he's got great finishing instincts. So I can't wait for this fight, man. Who's the favorite?
Pereira minus 150, Abus plus 130. And I think the most interesting aspect of this fight for me is whether or not Abus will be able to take down and hold down Pereira, because Pereira has 45 fights. The only person to take him down and hold him down is Fluffy Hernandez, right? There's been no other evidence of somebody taking him down, getting on top and holding this guy down. He's very explosive. If it turns out he can stuff takedowns, I think Abus is kind of screwed. Like shooting takedowns, getting them stuffed, a guy that's already a gas bag. I think Abus could be in trouble down the stretch. And then on the feet, I do like Magomedov striking quite a bit, but his durability is kind of iffy. Cardio is very iffy. So I think I lean towards Michel Pereira, but I do recognize that there may be a path. Like Abus has shown that he can take down like Bruno Ferreira, Worley Alves, but I guess we'll see. We'll see whether or not Pereira can stuff some takedowns and get back up if taken down. So yeah, minus 150 Pereira, plus 130. Abus over under set at 1.5. The over 1.5 minus 165. Under 1.5 plus 135. For me at least, I'm a really big believer in the durability of Michel Pereira. Although Abus is very dangerous, I'm not sure Abus finishes him. But on the flip side, I could absolutely see Pereira finishing Abus, and I think he could even do it early as well. Like we've seen Pereira rattle off 3 60-second finishes in a row. So I think if I'm betting a total, it's more so I'm probably not betting a total here actually. Any thoughts on the total for you? 1.5. It's kind of a tricky one.
Yeah. The under is it's a little bit overpriced according to my model because only one of Magomedov's 4 fights is finished under 1.5 rounds. That's been scheduled for 3 rounds. And for Pereira, it's 4 of 11. But it's a lot of those middleweight fights have finished under 1.5. So I think I would, even though my model says that the over is a little bit better in terms of pricing compared to past performance, I think at middleweight, I think that the under is probably the side here.
Yeah, I kind of lean that way as well. This feels like a fight that should end inside the distance, but will somehow make it the distance. Potentially. I'm just betting the over 1.5 rounds in a parlay. Besides Fluffy, this is Pereira's toughest test at middleweight, and that is true because he fought Petrosky, where Petrosky was in Thailand when he accepted that fight. Olazechuk, and then Pereira. So yeah, that's true. That's true. I don't really see how Magomedov wins. Yeah, I guess it would be the takedowns, the control. Abus is a puss. A puss, like a puss. I got you. Yeah, a little bit. Tristan Khan. To be fair, though, he gassed out on the walkout. Yeah. So, that fight was hilarious. I'm new to the channel. Where can I get access to these Google Sheets? Are they available? Yeah, Wheezy on your the Odd Shopper.
The Odd Shopper, yes. Yeah, oddshopper.com. Look up Uncle Wheezy under the MMA cappers there, and I have like a subscription service where you get access to all of my stats, betting models, individual fighter stats. Show them the OU and the BT tabs too.
Yes.
Yeah, over-under betting model. This is a prop betting model right here. And then you got individual stats for the fighters. That's part of this probability stats and content package that I provide on oddshopper.com.
Yes, sir. Go check them out. Punisher. I like the under, but I have been cashing middleweights over. Yeah, middleweight overs. They hit at a high clip. They do. They sure do. Especially main events. Middleweight main event fights always go over somehow, no matter who's fighting.
Yeah, it's because of Israel.
Strickland, Adesanya.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Is this the Chikadze Onama the co-main event, or we got another?
No, I think there's 3 more fights. We got
Hey.
Chikadze and then Smith Zhang.
Oh, why is that the co-main?
Execution.
Why is that the co-main event? That's weird. But guess they want to. Whatever. I kind of feel like this should be the co-main event, but it is what it is. Giga Chikadze going against David Onama. We got Chikadze, 36 years old, 6 foot with a 74-inch reach. Onama, 30 years old, 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. Onama is 6 years younger. Chikadze with a 1-inch height advantage. Got the same reach there. Chikadze, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Cub Swanson. Knockout win against Edson Barbosa. Decision loss against Calvin Kattar. Decision win against Alex Caceres. And then a decision loss to Arnold Allen. As far as David Onama, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Submission win against Garrett Armfield. Decision loss to Nate Landwehr. Knockout win against Gabriel Santos. Decision win against Jonathan Pierce. And a decision win against Roberto Romero. So, yeah, I mean, have and always will be one of the biggest Giga Chikadze haters out there. This is a guy that I always thought was very beatable. But this was a guy in Giga that just proved me wrong, like time after time. Like I would always try to bet against this guy, pick against this guy. And I think he started off his UFC run like 6 or 7-0. And then he finally lost to Calvin Kattar. But yeah, he's now getting up there in age, though. He's 36 years old. We haven't seen him fight in, what's it been, like almost a year?
Giga, 8 months, but
8 months.
Feels longer, man. I barely remember that Arnold Allen fight.
Yeah, because it wasn't the best fight. I think that's why we don't remember it. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but yeah, I don't know. Although like I said, I'm not a big fan of Giga. It's like David Onama. You look at his wins, like who's his best win? A guy that's cut and Jonathan Pierce.
Oh, Gabriel Santos, man.
Gabriel Santos is like 40.
No.
I thought I forgot about Gabriel Santos. I was thinking about Benito Lopez for some reason.
Oh, God, yeah. Benito Lopez is a realtor. Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking about who the freak was I thinking about? Oh, I was thinking about Gabriel Benitez.
Benitez. Yeah, Benitez. Yeah,
okay, you're right.
He is like 40.
You're right. His best win is absolutely Gabriel Santos. I forgot about that. But yeah, if he beats Giga, though, like that'd be a great win. Giga's his only losses come to Calvin Kattar and Arnold Allen. So I don't know. It's definitely a step up, I'd say, for Onama, kind of a step down for Chikadze. I guess it comes down to whether or not Giga has anything left in the tank. So we'll see. But Onama, decent-sized favorite, I believe, -175. Wheezy, what are your thoughts on this fight here?
Yeah, this will be a fun one, man. We're going to have to see if David Onama is going to wrestle because they've done a nice job of matching Giga up against guys who don't want to wrestle him for some reason, which I don't know why, but I guess that's what happens when you fight Arnold Allen, who doesn't shoot takedowns. Alex Caceres never shoots takedowns. Kattar never shoots takedowns. Barbosa never shoots takedowns. Cub Swanson never shoots takedowns. So, I'm not surprised that Giga has spent 89.5% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range where he does his best work. But Onama is a guy who will mix in the wrestling, and he's a much higher volume striker than Giga is. So, obviously, there's going to be an athleticism difference between these two guys here. And I think that Onama's got a ton of power, but obviously Giga's the cleaner and more accurate kickboxer, and he's got a ton of power in his own right. So I think this will be interesting on the feet, but David's got to wrestle here. David's got to use that grappling game of his because he's good there. He's not winning a ton of the minutes, but he is winning 37% of them. He is getting 0.7 takedowns, but his efficiency is actually pretty good because he's only getting about, I'd say, about like 17-18% of the total takedowns in his fights, but he's winning 37% of the control time positions. So he can get reverses, he can threaten with submissions, and he can win some minutes on top, like we saw in the Roberto Romero fight. So, I do think that this is going to be an interesting one because Onama does have the toolbox to go to multiple tools here. He can use the athleticism and the explosiveness on the feet, but if he mixes in the grappling, that's what's going to get Giga tired. That's what's going to slow Giga down. And I just don't think it would be a smart game plan to go out there and kickbox a glory kickboxer who can shut you down with a liver kick at any point in the fight. So I think Onama's got to wrestle here, and I think if he doesn't, that this fight is going to be very, very close.
Yeah, he doesn't really wrestle a ton.
No.
Here and there. He did in the Armfield fight.
But the thing is, he always winds up in control time positions. He always winds up there. You know, he's attempting 3.7 takedowns. His opponents are attempting 7 against him, and he's spending only 54% of his octagon time is spent at distance striking range, so almost 46% in control time positions. So he's just spending a lot more time in those positions than Giga is.
Yeah, I think it'd be very wise for him to wrestle. Very, very wise. But we'll see. David Onama minus 175. Giga Chikadze plus 150. The over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 minus 175. The under 2.5 is plus 145. I don't mind like an under. I think a Chikadze knockout could make some sense. And if Onama does wrestle, which I'm not convinced he does, to be honest, but if he does wrestle, I think his grappling is, I mean, this guy Chikadze got submitted by Austin Springer. So I think we could see an Onama submission if he were to go to that grappling. So an under, I don't completely hate it, plus 145.
I agree 100% there. My model doesn't like it based on past performance, but I got to feel like if this fight stays on the feet, either one of these guys is live to land something big. And if it goes to the ground, Onama's going to be live to get him out of there, I think.
Yeah, and these guys are going to swing dicks on the feet. Like, I know Chikadze's next level tough, but Onama has a lot of power. And has Onama been knocked out before? He's been dropped before.
He got dropped by Romero, but he's never been finished as a professional.
Okay. Yeah. Under 2.5. Solid. He didn't lose the cater. He got the ever living shit. Yeah, that was just a bad. And I'm still kicking myself to this day. Like, I tried to fade Giga every chance I got, but in the cater fight, for some reason, I just didn't pull the trigger. And cater looked minus 500 or wider.
Yeah.
I'm going to donate to the Onama late sub props, aren't I? Hey,
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Like I said, this dude got some. I don't care when it was. This dude got submitted. I don't care if it was in 2018. This dude got submitted by Austin Springer.
That's right.
Austin Springer. I thought Chikadze looked pretty decent against Allen. Yeah, he just got outworked. Got outworked by Allen, and Allen's a top 5 fighter easily.
And I think it's important to note that Chikadze was on a long layoff before the Arnold Allen fight. He hadn't fought in almost a year at that point. And then between the Cater and the Caceres fight, he took a year and a half off. So since the beginning of 2022, this guy's only fought 3 times. Once in 2022, once in 2023, and once in 2024. And he's had 2 fights canceled in between the Cater and Caceres fight and then the Allen and the Caceres fight.
Yeah, which is crazy. Remember during COVID, this guy was fighting, it seemed like every other week.
Yeah. Yeah, he fought 4 times how many times?
I think 4 or 5.
4 times in 2020. And then he fought twice in 2021. And then he fought in January of 2022. So he was he was definitely very active. But then since then, it's been over 3 years and he's only fought twice in that period from February 2022 on. So he hasn't been active.
Yep. It's not been active, but it should be a really good fight here. Can't wait for this one. And I can't wait. Like, what are we doing here? Anthony Smith versus Zhang Mingyang. Come on, guys. Like, this fight shouldn't be sanctioned. Like, this fight shouldn't be happening. This is probably worse than the Julian Erosa, Darren Elkins fight. Like, who is sanctioning this fight? But we got Anthony Smith. He's 36 years old, 6'4" with a 76-inch reach. Zhang Mingyang, 26 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. Zhang Mingyang, 10 years younger. It's going to be Anthony Smith with a 2-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Anthony Smith is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. A decision win against Uncle Easy's favorite fighter, Ryan Spann. A knockout loss to Khalil Roundtree. Submission win against Vitor Petrino. Decision loss to Roman Dolidze. And then a knockout loss to Dominic Reyes. As far as Zhang Mingyang, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Brenton Ribeiro, won that fight by first-round knockout, and then beat Ozzy Diaz by first-round knockout. So this is a very interesting fight. It's a fight that should not be sanctioned. It's a fight that should not be happening. It's an on-site piping. But it's a very interesting fight because Zhang Mingyang has 18 wins, 18 first-round knockout wins. First-round wins, 18 of them. He's never won a fight that's been out of the first round, which is interesting because when you take a look at Anthony Smith, Weezy, in the UFC, how many times has Anthony Smith been finished in the very first round?
Has it been only once, or was it 0? Or
in the last 10 years, 0. In the last 12 years, 1.
Wow.
In the last 14 years, 2.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, Smith has been finished 16 times, though, as a professional. 16 of 21 losses are finishes. So, and he's been knocked out 12 times. Brady.
Oh, God.
That stat is terrifying when you're facing a guy, because like you look at Mingyang Zhang's record and you see that there are 6 losses on there, and 5 of those 6 losses he was finished in, right? And then you look at his wins, and it's like, who? He beat a bag of Wangs on the regional scene, a bunch of fat Chinese dudes. And then he came in and he beat George Tokos on road to UFC, Brenton Ribeiro in his UFC debut, and Ozzy Diaz in his second UFC fight. So, I mean, like, he's getting a massive step up in competition. And we just saw Anthony Smith come off of a career worst performance where he lost his coach and mentor the week of the fight and was in no mental space to be getting in a cage. The fight really should have been called off. Smith was a complete mental wreck, and he went in there and fought like it and was finished by Dominic Reyes by knockout. So there are a few things that we need to keep in mind here is that, Zhang, this would be the best win of his career. He's never beaten anybody on Anthony Smith's level. And Anthony Smith can submit you if the fight goes to the ground, whether it's from his back or whether he's on top. This is a guy you don't really want to be grappling with, especially if you're, Zhang and you've been subbed by guys on the regional scene that would easily, that Anthony Smith could beat. So there are some reasons to be a little bit cautious about the Zhang side, and especially seeing as Smith is coming off a career worst performance. That he's never looked as bad as he did in that Reyes fight. So, guy just beat Vitor Petrino. He just submitted him, right? He beat Ryan Spann the last 2 times he fought him. He beat Spann both times, So it's not like Smith can't pull a rabbit out of his hat every once in a while. Shit, man. That's most of his career. So I still think that Zhang's going to knock this dude into the middle of next week. And when you go and you watch all these fights where Zhang was getting finished earlier in his career by, like you brought it up, Brady, Askar Mozarov was one of the guys that finished him. John Vake, a guy from New Zealand, I believe, finished him, a kickboxer. Yeah, I mean, look at his head in those fights. His head is twice the size as it was when he was 19 to 21 years old, before he had eaten all the steroids in China. He ate all of them.
Yeah.
The problem was that they thought they had some potential in the kid. They gave him some steroids, and then the guy's a 205-pound Chinese man. He just overpowered everybody in the country. And he took all the steroids, and then he ingested all the steroids, and now you got this guy who can't be knocked out. You could hit him in the head with a shovel. He's got a head the size of an Easter Island statue. He's taking all the steroids in China. It's going to be a rough night for Anthony Smith, most likely, but this guy does something stupid. You never know what Anthony Smith can do. He can pull a rabbit out of his hat. He's done it before, man. But I think Zhang's going to give Anthony Smith like the 13th knockout loss of his career, and I think it's going to probably be pretty brutal.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picturing the fight now. Zhang Mingyang lands a big shot. Smith turtles up, and I guess it's up to the ref. You know, is the ref going to let Smith take 200 to 300 unanswered ground and pound shots, or is the fight going to get stopped in the first round? It all depends on the ref. Like if it's Herzog, this fight's going the distance, and I think Zhang Mingyang might set a record for significant ground strikes, maybe 400, 500. But if it's like a I don't know, like a Chris Tione, I think Tione might stop the fight. Maybe a Beltron. I think Beltron might stop the fight. But if it's Herzog, we might see this fight potentially go over. And yeah, I saw that he got finished by Mozarov, and I clicked on Mozarov's Sherdog profile. And I remember when he first was making his debut, the dude was like, 29 and 4. And his record throughout the week just kept getting worse and worse. Now his record's 15 and 14.
Whoa.
He gained 10 losses. Lost half his wins, 15 and 14 with 14 finish losses. Askar Mozarov. And then in the bio, it says formerly known as Arthur Shadikov and Arthur Shadikov. So this dude's fighting with fake names, getting different fights with fake names. Dude's a mess, man. Get some help. Askar Mozarov, get some help. The Black Jaguar, get some help.
God, yeah,
wrong with that guy.
Yeah, he's got power though, dude. That dude, if he hits you don't want to get hit by Askar Mozarov. The guy's got real power, but and he knocked out Mingyang Zhang when he was 19 or 20 years old. I mean, Zhang's only 26, and he's been fighting for 10 years and 3 months. So this guy turned pro at the age of 16. So some of those old losses that you see on tape from him, they happened a long time ago, and they're probably not relevant today.
Yeah, not relevant, just hilarious. Just hilarious.
Yeah, true.
Let's see. What do we got in the chat here? We got my guy Lusa Soli.
Yes.
Lusa Soli, good to see you in here. If you guys have not followed Lusa Soli yet, don't. Unless you want your timeline filled with cocks and balls and piss and some of the nastiest things you'll see. If you want to see some of the nastiest things, go follow our guy Lusa Soli. Or don't. I don't know why I follow him, but every time I open the app, it's like, what are you posting now, dude? And then smashing the like button like Bonnie Blue style. Come on, man. Come on. Why am I the only person who thinks Smith can retire with a win? This guy is a can crusher. Yeah. Zhang Mingyang minus 525. Big favorite. Anthony Smith plus 400. The over-under set at 1.5. The over 1.5 plus 195. The under 1.5 is minus 245. Very interesting. Yes, there is some Sidney Sweeney content on there as well.
Yes.
Anthony Smith by home invasion. Oh, boy. On paper, it's Lionheart. Oh, I'd agree. On paper, it is Lionheart a couple of years ago, but I just don't think he should be fighting in the cage. Crazy that Tokus was minus 500 to Zhang. He was.
I think he was minus 700.
Crazy. Big favorite.
He was a huge favorite over Zhang. Yeah, that was wild. And he came in there looking fat, too.
Tokus?
Like not Zhang. Tokos. Tokos came in. I'm like, really? This guy, I had never seen him fight before. I was watching that, and I'm like, oh, the Greek kid, he's minus 700. He might be good, I'm like, he looks kind of fat, but he might be good, Nope.
Y'all know what a milking table is. Yes. I do know what a milking table is. Oh, he says Zhang's going to bring the milking table. So you're saying Zhang's going to bring in a milking table, set it down. Do they let you bring in milking tables anymore, or is that?
No, I don't think that was ever allowed. I don't even know what a milking table is. And if Lusa Soli's asking, I don't want to know. I think it's probably disgusting. I think it's probably just absolutely disgusting. It sounds, kind of like, oh, milking table, No, it's horrible. I just know it. I've never been more sure of anything in my life.
Lou, you're a sick man. My mother watches this show. She's probably watching right now. Sick. She making my mother sick, Lou. So yeah, let's move on. Because he's a nice Lusa Solis. He's a nice guy. He's a nice guy.
The Sydney Sweeney content is worth it, just alone, you know?
Yeah. But some of the stuff on there, is something else. Get him to 100. Yeah, get us to 100 likes. We'd appreciate that. We'd appreciate that. All right. Let's move on. And whoever booked this fight should be arrested. And not saying Smith can't win. Smith can win this fight. Like if this fight hits the ground, or if Smith gets a takedown, like I have a feeling that Zhang Mingyang's ground game absolutely sucks. It's just my feeling. But there's a good chance that Smith gets knocked out very brutally. Very brutally. All right, let's move on to the main event. It is Carlos Prates going against Ian Garry. We got Ian Garry, 27 years old, 6'3" with a 74-inch reach. Carlos Prates, 31 years old, 6'1" with a 78-inch reach. Ian Garry, 4 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, and a 4-inch reach disadvantage. Ian Garry is 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Danny Rodriguez, decision win against Neil Magny, decision win against Jeff Neal, decision win against Michael Page, and then a decision loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov. As far as Carlos Prates, 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Contender Series knockout against Mitch Ramirez, round 2. Round 2 knockout against Kevin Giles. Round 1 knockout against Charles Radke. And then a round 2 knockout against the Leech. And then a round 1 knockout against Neil Magny. Yeah, this is one of those tricky fights where it's like, Ian Garry, slight favorite here. Ian Garry's fought, really good guys. Ian Garry had a ton of success against Shavkat. A couple mistakes here and there, a little bit more urgency, and he beats Shavkat Rakhmonov that night. I think he lost 48-47 on all 3 judges' scorecards, almost submitted Shavkat. Like that, and that loss, is a very good loss. He goes out there, beats Michael Page, which that's a phenomenal win. Jeff Neal, phenomenal win. So, Ian Garry, there's a lot to like about him. Good striker, has started to work on the wrestling, the grappling, working with Charles Oliveira and them. And on the flip side, you got Carlos Prates, where if you go back a couple of years and watch some of these Prates fights, you'll see him quitting. You'll see him getting broken. He's been finished a lot. His ground game does not look good. I've seen him taken down, held down. But, I think this guy's made a lot of improvements over the years. And now he's going out there and just starching fools. This guy Prates, he's very long, he's very rangy, 78-inch reach, 4-inch reach advantage, and he uses all of that reach, very accurate. And I think that's what I like most about Prates is his accuracy and just the power that comes with it. And it looks like he's barely touching some of these guys, and they're dying. Like Mitch Ramirez, it looked like he barely threw anything into that punch. Walk-off knockout. I didn't even see him touch Magny. Had to rewatch it, slow it down, and he killed Neil Magny. Like the power of Carlos Prates is insane. So it's a tricky fight because I think there's a ton of reasons to like Garry, but at the same time, like Prates could kill him in this fight. So it's one where I think I'm probably going to stay away. You can make strong arguments for both sides. I could definitely see a strong argument for Garry, but I could also see people saying, yeah, Prates is going to kill him, to knock him out. So might be one I just sit back and watch. Weezy, any thoughts on this main event?
Can't wait for this fight. This is an amazing fight. I mean, Carlos Prates hasn't lost since 2019, and that was a decision. And the last time that he got finished was January of 2017. So it's been 8 years since this dude has been finished, because when you look at the screen there, you'll see that he's lost 6 times and he's been finished in 5 of those 6 losses. But since that last time that he was finished, which was against Mikhail Romanchuk in Chinwoo Men back in 2017. Since then, he's won every fight but one, and he's knocked out every win except for one. This guy, he's got just absolutely ridiculous striking. That straight left is a piston. The head kick from the left side is powerful. The step-in knees, that knee that he finished Radke with, was I mean, it exploded his liver. It was horrible to watch that. Walk-off knockout against Ramirez. Walk-off knockout against Giles. Walk-off knockout against Radke. Walk-off knockout against Li Jingliang. And then he just not walk off against Magny as well. He's so dangerous. He's so crazy powerful on the feet. But he smokes with cigarettes, Brady. like a pack of cigarettes a day. This guy's saying he smokes.
Didn't they say like 15 cigs a day?
Dude, 15 cigarettes. I mean, like I remember, dude, I smoked that much back in college, man. That's a lot, you know? And I was partying on drugs half the time. You know, like these things will mess up your cardio, and we've never seen Carlos Prates. Here, let me look at my sheet. I want to see if he's ever been scheduled for 5 rounds. Once in his career, and that fight didn't even get out of round 1. Okay? So we've never seen Carlos Prates in the championship rounds as a professional, rounds 4 or 5. And the last time that he even went to a 3rd round, the year was 2019.
Jeez.
So, you know, we just saw Ian Garry go 5 hard rounds with Shavkat Rakhmonov. So this is gonna be a very tricky matchup for Prates, because we all know that the KO is going to be live in any of those first 3 rounds. If that dude hits you clean, it's probably over. But what happens if it goes over, you know, if we get into the 3rd round here? What happens if Ian Garry's having some success in the clinch and having some success getting takedowns? Then this fight is probably going to, you know, if I'm playing Prates here, I'm probably playing Prates rounds 1 or 2, or Prates to win in under 2.5, you know, because what happens if this thing gets into the 3rd round? How confident are you going to be that, you know, Prates smoking with cigarettes every day is going to be able to go a hard 5 rounds with Ian Garry? What happens if Ian's getting takedowns? What happens if he gets the Carlos's back? You know, that he could bring the quit out in him, you know, because the guy hasn't been able to quit cigarettes, but he might quit this fight in rounds 4 or 5 if Gary's putting a pace on him and he's not cut out to go the full 25 minutes. There are still some things that we really need to find out about Carlos Prates, but man, has he looked phenomenal at this level. And that's striking. I think it was Dana White who said that he, you know, Prates reminds him of Anderson Silva. And I mean, that's high praise from somebody in Dana White who knows what he's talking about. And yeah, I kind of see it. He's got that kind of striking where you watch it and you're just like, my God, dude, what he did to Li Jingliang, that poor guy, he had never been knocked out before. You know, Neil Magny, this guy has got so many losses at the UFC level. Whoever knocks out Neil Magny? Virtually nobody until Prates did it. Who knocks out Li Jingliang? Never been done until Prates did it, and did it brutally. You know, this guy is not only just knocking out people, he's knocking out people who just generally are very durable and tough individuals. So, yeah, this is going to be a hell of a main event, Brady. I'm not sure which side I'm on right now. I was in the process of writing up this fight before we went live tonight, but man, I can't wait, dude. I think this one could go either way. And I think that whoever wins this one is probably 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting. They keep posting the graphic of the Fighting Nerds fighters. It's like, I think they're combined like 19-0, and people are getting mad because Bruno Brazil is
listed on there.
Yeah, and they're just completely ignoring the fact that Bruno Brazil is a fighting nerd. But yeah, I mean the main four, Gene Silva, Kyle Bahayo, Carlos Prates, Mauricio Hufi, the main 4, like they're just not fighters I want to bet against anytime soon. Like they look unstoppable. It's ridiculous. And Prates is a guy that I don't really want to bet against. This guy, like you said, he's not only knocking guys out. Like these guys they're not getting up for a while. They're getting knocked out cold. Like the power is ridiculous. But yeah, I mean, if this fight gets extended, heavily favors Garry. You know, I don't think the Trevin Giles fight was a great look. Officer Giles outlanded him 68-37. I think Garry could potentially, you know, mix in the grappling as well. So yeah, it's a very tricky one. I think close to a pick'em's accurate. I think Garry slight favor even could be accurate, but yeah, all it takes is one shot here from Prates. The over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 -180. The under 2.5 is +150. kind of don't hate the under. Like you said, if Protches is winning, it's probably a knockout within the first 2.5 rounds. If Garry's winning, maybe he could finish Protches early, but I kind of more so lean towards it being late. I don't know. This might just be a fight where I sit back and enjoy it and see what happens.
Yeah, I'm going to enjoy this fight because I really don't know who's going to win. I could easily see it going either way. Protest with a powerful knockout. Ian Garry with just a master class of fight IQ and a full toolbox of options to go to here. This is phenomenal. And both of these guys are still, let's see, Ian Garry is still only 27 years old. And Prata's still, 31 with 27 professional fights to his credit. And dude, I think Prata's Muay Thai record, it's ridiculous. It's like something like 80 or 100 fights. So this guy's got a ton of kickboxing.
Well, doesn't he have? Is he the guy that has Muay Thai tattooed across his chest? Is that him?
Yes. He lived in Thailand for a while, and he was fighting like once a week out there for like a year straight.
Yeah, the striking is absolutely no joke. The power, the speed, the accuracy, it's fun to watch. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And Gary's got awesome striking too. I mean, obviously he's got phenomenal striking. So yeah, I cannot wait because we're gonna see if Gary's grappling game has evolved to the point where he can really win minutes against top quality opposition with it at this level. This is going to be a great opportunity to see if he can do that, because any kind of shots that you take on this guy, if you walk onto that left hand, if you walk onto that left knee, it's going to be nighty night. Keep your butthole tight, Brady. So this is the best main event we've seen in a minute. I'm really looking forward to this one.
Dude,
man.
Don't say butthole while Lucis Soli's in the chat, man. Don't say butthole. Apparently he's getting into it with Barry McCockiner. He says, Barry, you naughty boy. Barry says, I love where this is going. Lou says, hope you're not lactose intolerant, Barry McCockiner, because it's milking season. And Barry says, dairy is the air I breathe.
They're having a great conversation. I love it.
Yeah, it's always good to see the guys and they have a great conversation. Ian will grapple.
Yeah.
I think this is way too big of a step up in competition for Protches, but God, I'd love to see him knock Ian out cold. But Ian by sub is live. Yeah, he almost subbed Shopcott. Yeah. And then he almost subbed MVP. And I actually had Garry by sub there, like plus 1,000. It was close a couple times. He said when he parties, he smokes 2 to 3 packs.
Dude, when I partied hard in college, Brady, and I remember a couple of times smoking 2 packs in a night, and then you'd look at your fingers, like between the fingers, they'd just be brown. Like the cigarette would like burn the fingers, and you'd get nicotine stains on your fingers when you smoke that much. And I remember thinking to myself, my God, what do my lungs look like if my fingers look like that after one night? So yeah, if you're partying and smoking 2 packs of cigarettes, man, that's crazy.
It is crazy. It is crazy for sure. Have we seen Protches? So the last time I've seen somebody take him down was against Abdullayev back in 2019.
Mitch Ramirez got him down.
Who else has tried to take him down? Neil Magny kind of attempted a takedown or 2, right?
Yeah, like right now, according to my stats, like he's seen 6 takedown attempts at the UFC level so far, and he stuffed all of them. But Charles Radke was controlling him in the clinch for a little bit. So was Trevin Giles, and I think Mitch Ramirez got a takedown or 2 against him, but he got swept from one of them.
Oh yeah, yep. Let's see. We got Mills in the building. Malcolm Wellmaker said he studied all of Cameron's flaws and defaults. Good.
Yeah.
That's always good. Protches gasses after the 5th round. If you're not on the t-shirt, you're not a real fighting nerd. Guess so. I guess they're not accepting Bruno Brazil or Kenan
Krzyzewski and Ricardo Ramos went there recently, and I think there was one other Brazilian fighter who were like, oh, he went to Fighting Nerds, and then he just stunk.
So the main 4, the big 4. All right. So let's get into the good stuff, Weeds. So like we said, the stat diggers parlay. Stat Diggers parlay, I think it's only not hit once this year, which is crazy. And a lot of them have been one legs. We have lost some legs, but I think the only time it hasn't hit was a fight that we had an under and it finished, but it finished over the 2.5. Other than that, it's been hot, man. So let's keep it rolling. 2 legs. I will let you go first. What are you thinking for whether it's a total, whether it's a money line? What are you thinking for the Stat Diggers parlay of the week?
Okay, so I'm seeing a couple things, like maybe an over 2.5 rounds for Brown versus Dalby at minus 285. Any money lines that I like that are bettable? Not particularly. Wow. Am I laying minus 300 on Joselyne Edwards?
Oh
no.
Matt Schnell minus 270.
No. He could get subbed so easy. Dude, Flick might knock him out. Yeah, I think I'll go with the over in the Randy Brown versus Nick Dalby fight. It's kind of a wide line, but
Yeah. I like that. I like it a lot. So what is it? What is the line for that?
Minus 285.
Yeah, I like it a lot. It's a little chalky, so we might have to lay some juice on this parlay because the legs I like are chalky. Like I don't like any money line. I'm not parlaying Joselyne Edwards at minus 300. Yeah. Amorim minus 650, no. Ikram minus 655, no. But there are 2 totals I like, but they're also chalky. So the 2 totals that I like, Weezy, is the under 1.5 in the Smith Zhang Mingyang fight at minus 245, which it's a ton to pay for an under, but Mingyang has never won a fight outside the first 5 minutes. And then the other total I like is a straw weight 2.5 at minus 260.
Yeah.
So those are the 2 totals.
They're both good though.
Yeah, I think they both hit.
Yeah.
So let's see. If we do the Amorim one, it comes out to minus 115. And then if we do the Smith Mingyang one, it comes out to minus 111. So I'll let you pick. Like, which one do you feel better about? The under 1.5 in the Mingyang fight or the under 2.5 in the Amorim fight?
We get a better price on Mingyang, but we get another round.
Another round, yeah. We'll do that.
Yeah.
So the over 2.5 in the Dalby Brown fight, and then the under 2.5 in the Amorim fight. So that is the Stat Diggers parlay of the week. Now it's time to get to the milking of the week. And yeah, we've hit the milking every time. Like, these fighters haven't lost, but these last 2 weeks, it hasn't really been a milking, right? Like Chase Hooper, he didn't milk shit. I want somebody to go out there with their pail, with a straw hat, throw their opponent on the ground, grab them by the teats, and milk them dry. And for me, there's really only one option, right? I mean, it's got to be Jaqueline Amorim to milk the teats of Polyana Viana, right?
I'm with you there, dude. I mean, we're already betting that under 2.5. And I mean, basically, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to bet round 1 sub. If I can get like plus 200 on that, I'll probably put a full unit on it. I don't think that this fight's going to be close.
Okay, so the Stat Diggers milking of the week is, and there's no milking table needed, Lucasoli. We don't need a milking table for this one. The Stat Diggers milking of the week is going to be Jaqueline Amorim to milk Polyana Viana dry.
Yeah.
There we go.
No question about it.
There we go. All right, now it's time to find the piping. And the pipings have been hitting at a high clip as well. I think we've only lost 1. But last week we had Yair Rodriguez. He didn't pipe nothing, man. He didn't pipe nothing. It was a great win. Clean
win, but just
I want somebody to get piped. I want somebody to be like, wow, that dude just got piped. Yeah. That dude just got piped on site. So here I think are the options. We'll go one by one. Amorim, we already have as a milking. Blackshear, potential piping, but that kind of falls more to a milking, I think. Blackshear, Alateng. Let's see. Somebody's probably getting piped in the Schnell Flick fight, but I don't feel comfortable making Schnell the piping. Ikram Aliskerov minus 655 could absolutely pipe Andre Muniz. And then Zhang Mingyang could absolutely pipe Anthony Smith. I think it's between those two. Are there any other ones that you think stick out?
Not particularly, dude. I think it's Aliskerov, Zhang. And I think it's probably one of those two. And I have got a funny feeling that Malcolm Wellmaker might just destroy Cameron Saaiman, but I need to look more into that fight.
All right, so what is it? Are we going with Zhang Mingyang to pipe Anthony Smith on site, or are we going with Ikram Aliskerov to pipe Andre Muniz on site?
The problem is some of these Chinese products are shoddy, Brady. Shoddy. Bad workmanship, bad materials, probably why they're going to get tariffed. Let's face it. Come on. I mean, like we use the term falling apart like a Chinese motorcycle, right? And now we've got somebody that's going to bring like some kind of shoddy Chinese pipe here to get an American from Nebraska in Kansas City. We might be a little bit safer with Aliskerov, but both of these lines are crazy, man.
They are,
Zhang minus 525, Aliskerov minus 655. But Anthony Smith can't get a takedown to save his life. I got a feeling, even with shoddy Chinese pipe, that Smitty's probably going to get piped on site here.
All right. So the on-site piping of the week, sponsored by Colton G, is Zhang Mingyang to pipe Anthony Heart Smith on site. Okay. Pull that up there. There we go. Mm-hmm. The on-site piping of the week is Zhang Mingyang to pipe Anthony Lionheart Smith on site. There you had it. So let's see if we can get some milkings and we can get some pipings. Wheezy, we did it. Thank you all for hanging out. Going to kick it to you. Let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me on X at MMA Wheezy. You can find me on YouTube at Uncle Wheezy. And you can find me on oddshopper.com, where I sell my probability stats and content package for $25 a month. You can go there and get access to all of my track bets, access to my Discord, access to my in-depth fight write-ups every week, access to these spreadsheets where you get the individual fighter stats, the matchup stats, the over-under, and the prop betting models for every fight on the card, and access to 4+ hours of subscriber-only content every week, including balls deep breakdowns and probability, where we find plus EV bets using these models. So join me on Odds Shopper, join me on YouTube, join me on X, and let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC Kansas City this Saturday, Brady. I'm really looking forward to this card.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the next couple cards. Somebody brought it up in the chat, man. We have Andrade, Jazz the Vicious coming up in 2 weeks. Like, what a great fight.
That is a good one. Wow. Yeah, Jazz the Vicious is moving up in the world. She keeps winning. So she's going to keep getting tougher fights. Yeah, that's going to be an awesome. It's some good fights we have to look forward to these next couple of weeks. And then we got another week off, I think, after 4 weeks. All right, before we get out of here, I do want to shout out one last time for our guy, Avery, for sponsoring the show. Guys, go give him a follow at MMA_Very on X. He does weekly contests. Go check him out. Appreciate you, Avery, for sponsoring the show. And I think that's about it. Like on your way out, subscribe to the channel, and best of luck for UFC Kansas City. We'll see you guys soon.